state flag. Is there a stand over there for it?
There is a stand right here.
Okay.
Okay. Just kidding. Now it's back on the side. Before we do the pledge. Actually, I
Do
don't.
you have the deal with the other issue?
I don't. Here,
No, it should be in a big folder.
the big folder. My folder.
Brendan said he just moved it. Because that was higher. Well, I guess if I just have it, so we only need an extra section of that in there. Or new flag.
I don't understand where
I got 703
I
Verizon.
was wondering if it was downstairs, when we had meetings down there.
These meetings are long enough.
I never remember.
they were right. The flag was on the side.
That one should be
Are we
like
good?
10 minutes fast. But anyway.
We're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting 1 of the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners. It is April 2nd, 2025, and it is 7 o'clock. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. All right, Secretary Savage, could you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Tuckey?
Here.
Commissioner Zubek?
Here.
Commissioner Connolly?
Here.
Vice President Steele?
Here.
President Ellis?
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And we did not have an executive session this evening. We're up to item 6, promotional swearing-in ceremony of Swatara Township police officers. Yep.
We are now, oh, there we are. Very good, thank you. Judge Smith is with me tonight to administer the oath. Everyone, tonight we have the distinct honor to promote 3 very deserving Swatara Township police officers. Corporal Eric Moyer will be promoted to sergeant tonight. Officer Rich LeCadre will be promoted to corporal. And Officer Chris Smith will also be promoted to the rank of corporal. I've worked with these 3 men for the entirety of their careers. I'm deeply honored to be here tonight with them and everyone else in attendance to celebrate their success. Well done, guys. I'm fully confident in their abilities as professional leaders. I know that they will bear the weight of their new roles with strict adherence to our mission and to our core values. Very well done. They went through a grueling process to get this far, a very intense promotional process, and they did extremely well, as you can tell. So let's give them all a round of applause, and then we're going to call them over and do Corporal Eric Moyer for the last time. Step over this way, please. It's up to you. Yes, sir.
Sir, you ready to take the oath? Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Eric A. Moyer,
I, Eric A. Moyer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the ordinances of Swatara Township,
and the ordinance of Swatara Township,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of the office of sergeant
of the office of sergeant
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
I can keep it. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
And Officer Rich Lecadre, please step on over.
Are you ready to take the oath, sir? Yes, sir. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Richard T. Lecadre,
I, Richard T. Lecadre,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the ordinances of Swatara Township,
the ordinance of the Swatara Township,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of the office of Sergeant.
Or corporal.
No, he's
of the office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
And Officer Chris Smith, come on over.
Congratulations.
Contrary to popular opinion, we are not related. One or two people in the township that still think we are. We haven't done anything to change the habit. Are you ready to take the oath, sir? Repeat after me. I, Christopher J. Smith,
I, Christopher J.
do
Smith,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
the ordinances of Swatara Township,
the ordinances of Swatara Township,
and I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of the office of corporal
of the office of corporal
with fidelity.
with fidelity. All right, we're gonna do a lot of different picture opportunities here, but if we can have the three kind of stars of the show line up in the center, and then Your Honor, and Superintendent, Chief, whatever we call you, and then we're gonna get the commissioners.
Can't be.
Everybody's good with that picture? I think for the next picture, we want everybody that's in law enforcement, that's in the room, we'll pack it in, and then we'll do families. So, I think it's probably most of the people in the room are gonna be in.
Linda.
We might need.
You want to come up, please? Brandon, take a picture.
No, you need to be in there, Lieutenant. So Brandon, can you take the? Are we in, or do we need people to come up top, or? All right, then, you three can work it out however you want to do it. We're going to get out of the picture, so bring your family and friends up, whatever you want to do. Did everybody get the pictures that they wanted to get? Looks like it. I want to say congratulations to the three that received promotions tonight. As the public safety chair, they're exceptional. And for the families, you might want to go if that's what you came for. So we're gonna wait a minute or two. It was great to see you, but you're not going to hurt our feelings. Take care.
Right into it.
Might need to close the door, but we'll see if we do. Brendan's getting the door.
according to my cell phone, it is 7:17 p.m. We have on the agenda a public hearing and consideration of ordinance zoning text amendment to add regulations pertaining to data centers and map amendments to change certain parcels from agriculture and single-family residential to mixed use. So we're going to go ahead and gavel out of this meeting, and then we'll begin that one. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Solicitor Kokorisi to begin the hearing.
Thank you, President Ellis. As stated, this is the time and place for a hearing to consider an amendment to the Township zoning ordinance to add regulations pertaining to data centers and some related items pertaining to data centers, and to change portions of the Township zoning map to account for those changes as well. I am going to turn it over to the Director of Planning and Zoning for just some of the procedural history as far as advertisements, posting of the property, etc. And then I'll turn it over to Scott Weiland for a more detailed explanation of the proposed ordinance amendments. Zach?
Okay, thank you very much. On November 4th, 2024, the Township Planning Commission forwarded recommendations to the Board of Commissioners, including recommendations on data centers. On December 11th, 2024, the Board of Commissioners unanimously forwarded to the Solicitor's Office to prepare necessary amendments. On February 12th, 2025, the Board of Commissioners unanimously forwarded the text and map amendment to the County and Township Planning Commissions for review. On February 24th, 2025, I mailed the map amendment letters, which are required by the Municipal Planning Code. There were 21 total properties. On March 3rd, 2025, the Township received Tri-County Planning Commission comments. On March 4th, 2025, the Township's Planning Commission reviewed and provided comments on the proposed amendment. On March 18th and March 25th of 2025, we posted a public hearing notice in the Patriot News, which was also in Penn Live. On March 21st, 2025, we posted the map amendment properties with the Municipal Planning Code required property postings. Today, on April 2nd, 2025, we received comments from Lower Swatara Township. And one more thing, we received one letter from Witold Zakowski from 4901 Highland Street. And that is the background.
Thank you, Zach. Scott, would you like to just give an overview of the proposed amendments?
Yes, thank you. Nice to be back for this. I've been following this ordinance along. A couple of things about it in terms of background. This is just the first in a series of zoning amendments that are going to be proposed by the Planning Commission. The board had directed there were a number of developing issues in the community and even sort of the wider area, for which the Swatara Township zoning ordinances were not fully prepared. Zoning of data centers came up because of, first in this list, because of really the urgency of the situation brought about by the high interest in the country for the development of these data centers. There's a bit of a gold rush going on. You may pick up from the news of developers trying to find sites that are appropriate. And they have some particularly special and precise needs for data center development. Without any zoning in place and without addressing data centers at all, our ordinances left the township basically in the position of not having any rules that apply to data center development, and a lot of ambiguity. The developer wanted to come in and propose a land development plan for the construction of a data center. So the Board of Commissioners thought it was important to put this at or near the head of the list in terms of the items that the Planning Commission was to address to update our zoning. And that's why you're seeing it first, but it's really just part of a larger effort on the part of the township to keep a pace or keep ahead of the need for zoning to address the different new uses and bring some precision into some areas. Data centers are basically a big building that looks something like a warehouse, but there's hardly any human or vehicular traffic associated with them. They're really minimally staffed for the size of the buildings that they are. The buildings can be quite large, and basically they're just filled with computer servers. They have certain needs, but if you looked at them from a few hundred yards away, you would be hard pressed to tell what, if anything, was going on inside the building, and in fact whether the power was turned on or not turned on. It's really that kind of a use. So there's an intensive need for it, but it's a relatively low impact to the community because there's not much activity at the site that you would be able to see or discern from being anywhere nearby. What do data centers need? They need a lot of power. They use sometimes as much power as a small city, staggering amounts of power that no one's really used to seeing. They need water, although their water needs are highly variable based on the design of the building. Computers get warm, so they need to be cooled. Some buildings will circulate water, some other fluids, some in closed loops, some not. Some have air-cooled approaches, etc. It's always changing, and certain data center developers or ultimate end user owners have their preferences on building design. So there's not an accurate way of knowing how much water they'll need, but usually, and particularly in our situation, they'll be using public water, which should be to the delight of the public water company because it could be some large amount of sales. Their wastewater, there's nothing unusual or industrial about it, but it's going to go to a wastewater treatment plant, depending on which way the gravity flows it from the particular sites. We also thought that there would be a need for, before I get to that, say one thing that they sort of generate is the electricity goes in, the computers do their work, and what comes out is basically fiber optic signals. So electricity goes in and light comes out is the simplistic way to think of it from a land development standpoint or a zoning standpoint. They also generate a tremendous amount of revenue. And communities like in Northern Virginia's Data Center Alley, who have experienced the placement of some of these units, have realized an unbelievable multiplier of their local real estate-based tax revenues. So a community would, perhaps be happy to receive some of these revenues. There's no way to predict it. These things are basically valued in 100 megawatt units. That's a large size building full of computers. There might be more than one 100 megawatt size unit on a property, and those things can cost anywhere from $10 billion or more to build for a single building, and that's not including the value of the computers housed inside. They're tremendously costly to build, and they generate just staggering amounts of revenue. I usually quip that it's like having 10 casinos in one place. It generates those levels of revenues. Anyway, most communities who look at it and do some pro rata or pro forma calculations on revenues will find that there are millions of dollars per year in tax revenues that might be generated by some of these uses. That's not the reason to embrace them, but it's certainly a beneficial side effect. The important part is to protect the community by having some rules in place, and that's what this ordinance is designed to do. You probably saw in the news that Dauphin County's General Authority was approached with an unsolicited offer to place a data center on the golf course site. Why? Well, as I said, they need power and water, and when developers are scouting for sites, they look for access to the electric grid too. That site particularly has some good access to power, and since the zoning laws of the Commonwealth say that we have to allow for every use somewhere in our township, and a developer has already thought that that was a good place, it would seem the natural place to start for our zoning to make rules that are applicable in that zone. We also wanted to see are there other areas that are similarly situated, and to avoid concerns about spot zoning. The second part of this ordinance is a map amendment to create an enlargement of the MU district. The MU district is where the golf course is. It's mixed use. There's no other area in the township that is mixed use at this time. So the thought is this ordinance would basically double the size of the mixed use by providing a similar sort of butterfly effect appearing parcel across the highway from the MU district where the golf course is, thus providing at least two major sites that have also access to power and other utilities that are necessary for the development. So they're realistic sites, in other words, not just, you can't say, well, our data centers are going to be in this area of, 3 townhouses and they're not big enough to actually house a real data center. In any event, that's the long and short of it. I did want to address the fact that we got today some questions from Lower Swatara Township, and I wanted to just briefly put those on the record along with a brief response, as that hasn't happened in any forum here yet. Their first question was, does the data center definition cover and or include artificial intelligence, or is there a separate definition for AI? The answer is no, and the reason is because there's really no distinction between artificial intelligence, data storage, data processing, cloud storage. The functions of the computer servers inside the building don't change the use of the building from a zoning standpoint. So whatever the computers are thinking about is not really an appropriate subject for zoning, and therefore the zoning ordinance does not address that. Their second question was, existing data centers use a large amount of water. Should the proposed amendment include language about water and wastewater? And the answer is no. That's part of the land development process, where they'll have to say, here's our water needs, and follow the normal processes under land development to show that they have someone willing to give them service, and showing a plan for the disposal of the wastewater. And it's not a normal thing to have in your zoning ordinance, but it already is in our land development ordinance. And then finally, their last question was, should that include metrics for acceptable noise levels? And the answer is that, again, that's a land development concern. At the time the land development plan is supplied, they can say how much or how little noise they make. And I think it depends on the type of the cooling system and where on the site the cooling apparatus is located, just sort of like where's your neighbor's air conditioner condenser located, and can you hear it or not hear it, how loud is it, that sort of thing. But we have existing rules about noise, and these developments, like all others, will have to follow those rules as well. So with that, I think that's the background, and I think the next step we would have is to invite the public to step up to the microphone if they want to get on the record and have a comment. Let me say that there's a court reporter here, so please, give us your name and address. And then I'd also request to keep things moving along. If you could limit your comments to 3 minutes, that would be great. Try to be precise. Let's keep it civil as always. And then if you've heard someone already give the point that you had in your mind, maybe consider bringing up a different point, or maybe just allowing someone else the opportunity to speak rather than repetition. I think once the commissioners have heard a point of view, they're taking it into mind. It's really not supposed to be a question and answer session. It's really supposed to be your opportunity to just state your position. With that, is it Megan?
Scott, if I could just add real quick, just a reminder, this public comment is limited to the proposed zoning ordinance amendment. The regular public comment for any other agenda items will be after this hearing.
Megan O'Neill, 5870 Bell Road. I have been going to the Planning Commission meetings for over 4 years now. I have requested multiple map changes for 4 years from Robert. And he told me that any map changes are going to be done on Swatara Rising. I have been very adamant that I think that the text change and the map change being done together is a mistake. I think that if they want to add it to a use in the multi-use district, that's fine. But I think they should look at the manufactured limiting area where it's already allowed warehouses to potentially allow that as a second use so you don't spot zone. I think that I've been told for over 4 years that they're not changing this map. And now I'm hearing they're changing the map and no one's requesting it. So I have a big concern about that. Thank you.
Deborah Knowles, 6080 Harker Drive. I agree that we need the regulations done to regulate the data centers. I do not agree that the agricultural zoning should be changed since it's our only last agricultural zone area, and it also allows for residents there. Also, you were saying about low impact, but there was a 60-minute special that you can even look online where cited that there were really loud noises from the air coolants and that there are emissions of electromagnetic pulses that affect the health of the residents. We do know that they use a lot of power, about half the amount of what TMI would put out, and also the water. You're talking about needing a lot of water, but in the March 5th meeting, right after they were saying about a fire in Enhart, that we had a visiting truck come and tried to hook up and there was no pressure. If we're already having, and then Shane, of course, said that it's known that there are pressure issues in Oberlin, Enhart, and Bresser area. A certain time of the day, it's going to be low when people get ready for work and stuff like that because of the usage. So if we're already having water problems in Oberlin, Enhart, and Bresler area because of people getting ready for work and things like that, what's it going to do to what little pressure you have during those times when we have a fire?
Good evening. Aaron Scheibelhut, attorney here on behalf of the McNaughton Company, who is a longtime property owner and developer in Swatara Township. Relevant to this matter, McNaughton owns parcel 63-062-058, which is across Route 441 from the agricultural zone that's currently in consideration for change to mixed use. McNaughton is not opposed to the amendment and in fact fully supports it and wants to suggest that the rezoning should be expanded even further in the future. To that end, they respectfully request that you consider in a future proposal rezoning the lands to the north side of Route 441 as mixed use as well, which McNaughton believes will truly reflect the character of the corridor of the township as it has developed over time into a fully mixed-use corridor with offices, hotels, retail spaces, churches, and residential properties. McNaughton believes that additional mixed-use zoning would be appropriate and beneficial to the township. Thank you.
Jordan Smith, 6015 Bell Road. To begin with, I'd like to point out that the Planning Commission recommended that these two issues be considered separately. That has not yet been stated for the record. Secondly, any consideration should include language for buffers around residences. It's currently not in the proposed language. Solicitor, once again, has been very excited to tell us about the potential for revenue. I've sent an email to all of the commissioners. I hope you've had a chance to read it. That stipulates to why that is not the the case. Pennsylvania, you see, is one of 12 states that does not have the business tangible personal property tax, which provides the bulk of the data center revenue for data centers in Loudoun County, Virginia. Solicitor also mentioned the large value of the property contained within data centers. This is true. Property taxes will not consider that. Commissioner Connolly was excited to tell me about land transfer taxes for the sale of the parcel in the current mixed-use parcel. This is a one-time fee. You won't get that again. I'm talking about being able to shear this sheep every year, and we're getting our judgment clouded by skinning it once to the tune of what, $135,000, $140,000? That's all.
Hello, Howard Cressley, Central Dauphin School District. I just have a few poignant points for consideration. The area can support the infrastructure without impacting student transportation. Obviously, transportation in this area is a joy to be around in the morning when buses are crowding the small streets. A data center, again, with low employee count doesn't impact that transportation at all. This use is less impactful on the district than a commercial or a residential development would be, primarily because capacity in our buildings is, we're basically approaching maximum capacity in a lot of our buildings. Adding a data center does not impact students or the number of students in our buildings, but it will impact revenue. These facilities provide annual revenue to the district in a time when state and federal revenue is very uncertain. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers?
Zoloftus, 5631 Plainview Drive. Thank you. Okay. From listening to what the previous speakers were saying, and also on Penn Live, I don't quite understand why we're taking both the rezoning and the changes to the ordinance all at once. I think two of that should be separate. Those should be separate items. On a personal and community standpoint, I've been a member of Dauphin Highlands golf course for a number of years, and I'm on a couple of golf leagues over there, okay? In the past 10 years, we've lost Par Line, we've lost golf courses in Hershey, we've lost Blue Ridge, we've lost a lot of golf courses. And if we continue on this path, the only people who are going to be able to play golf, and it's not going to be the middle and lower income citizens of this township, the only people who are going to be able to play golf and have the opportunity to network with other people and whatnot are those people who are going to be able to afford country clubs, okay? And I'm not part of that club, and I don't think a lot of people in this township are part of that club, including the children. Dauphin Highlands Golf Club for years has allowed children to play who are 15 and under free so that they can learn the game, they can get some exercise, okay? Now, if we take that opportunity away from them and we put in a big data center, that's saying to the kids, you're not worthy of becoming part of the club down the line. And maybe it's better for you to sit at home and be on your tablet and benefit from the data that's coming from the center. And then, if you're lucky, maybe we'll let you bounce a ball against the back of the data center or something like that. Because we're taking away recreational opportunities from the township,
from the county, from the citizens, okay? I don't know if everybody here plays golf or whatnot, but it is a sport that a lot of the elderly here play, younger people, and we have upcoming juniors, okay? By doing this and grabbing the money real quick, we're going to disenfranchise our citizens and the citizens of this county of that opportunity. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Ambrose Hines, an attorney on behalf of Prestigio LLC and 900 Keckler Road LLC, LP, the owner of properties directly across 441 from the area that is being rezoned. Mr. Paul Navarro, longtime owner, developer, and engineer in this community. With respect to this application or this proposal, the owner does not have an issue or any objection to the MU, and just as Mr. McNaughton's representative had said earlier, we are actually in favor of this, and in fact in favor of doing an expanded rezoning MU across 441 to include those properties that are in that same corridor for the same reasons that Mr. McNaughton's representative had mentioned. So we are in favor of this, but we would like the township to consider further expansion of those rezoning areas to include that entire corridor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Hi, my name's Gary Smith, 4801 Highland Street. My property is right in the center of everything here that we're talking about, and I'll be directly impacted by all of what's going on, including the construction and trucks going by then. My opinion is it's way better than a warehouse, because that's going to be 24/7 for the next 30 years of my life. So I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that the township coordinates with the state and whoever else is the taxing authorities, like my son Jordan, who was just up here before, told you, make sure you milk the cow every year and get what you can from these people. Because it's not just electricity going in and data coming out, that's money going out. And I want to make sure you guys have a metric to measure how much economic activity is being produced by these data centers and tax them accordingly. And like he said, Loudoun County, Virginia has already addressed these issues. And if anyone here from the state, I'm sure there's state issues here involved too with the taxation. So that's just my comment. If we're going to go ahead and build these places, and they are perfect, it's a juicy spot for a data center, 230 kV line running through all these properties that we're talking, including the people who are just up here talking. So that's my concern. Just make sure you guys use the money and get revenue out of these places, because they're making a lot of money out of this. There won't be traffic. I'm happy about that. And that's about it. It can benefit our township. Does not have any paid firefighters. These buildings are going to be large places where fires can happen. So make sure that we can get some benefit for our community if it's going to be built. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Nathaniel Davis. Our address is 471 North 50th Street in the Rolling Ridge development. And
My name is Barry Newell, and I live at 451 North 50th Street.
You want to start?
Oh, go ahead.
I've been in that development for 40 years now, and things have drastically changed. What I'm talking about is the traffic on our street. It's marked with a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone. That's not working. In a distance to the top of the hill there, which is hilltop, we see people come down that street in excess of 35 to 55 miles an hour. And I'm not kidding. Nobody stops at the stop signs. And we are trying to find some way of slowing them down. Over in Lower Paxton Township, they just put in speed bumps. I know our street is pretty wide, and the trucks come up here. That's one of the first places they plow when it's snow because of the steep incline of that hill. My neighbor can testify to the same thing. It's pretty bad up here. Nobody stops at the three-way stop signs at the top of the hill. They're straight through.
Gentlemen, I'm just going to stop you for a second. Right now, we're in a hearing with regard to data centers only.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So if you don't have anything to speak about the data center, then, okay. So we're going to have you guys sit down. If you look at the agenda, which I wrote all over everything, so I got to find mine.
All right, it's going to be number 9 on the agenda.
Yeah.
So we're just a little bit ahead of that.
Yeah.
So when we wrap this up, then we'll go to public comment.
Yes, when we have visitors, yes, when we get back into the regular agenda, have visitors request, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure we weren't.
we thought you were going to turn it
Yeah,
into something to
see
do
if
with
it was, yes.
We were patient.
I just want to get this off my chest.
Understood.
I understand.
Thank you.
If there's no further comment then on the data center topic, there is another speaker. Okay.
Hello, Ben Douglas, 649 Barbara Drive. In regards to the data centers, very familiar with that. Veteran, military, done it all, seen it all. A lot of our data processing centers are very vulnerable to attacks, outside threats, and most importantly, insider threats. So I know a lot of the information brought up about security. Just ask that the board definitely dolphin dive into that and ensure that if our township has to provide outside security, that we can do that. But if we can't provide inside security, that could be a problem if we don't know truly what's going on in there. So just take that into consideration, because loose lips sink ships, and insider threats are the biggest ones. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Gavin Ford, 3731 Rutherford Street. Just wanted to add, I think we have enough commercial properties here in Swatara Township, and certainly a data center going in there could definitely increase any kind of vehicular traffic in that neighborhood, whether it's tractor trailers, construction vehicles, what have you, and that could impact those neighbors. But I think we have enough large buildings here in Swatara Township. That's all. Thank you.
More speakers? Okay. What I'd like to do now is just provide a little bit of additional information in response to some of the points that were brought up, just for kind of clarification in some cases and for additional record. I thought there were good questions and good points. Megan O'Neill was talking about coordination with the comprehensive plan. That's always something to be desired, and sometimes the ordinances and the comp plan move at different paces, but I definitely agree with the recommendation that when, at least in a minimum every 10 years, we relook at our comp plan, that it reflects, current land use and then anticipated land use. So that was, I thought, a good comment. With water pressure, maybe I'm just the optimist, but Ms. Knowles' point was good about the fact that we have to question whether there's infrastructure there. The area is served by a public utility that's regulated by the Public Utility Commission, and when the owner makes application for large amounts of water, it's very likely that the resources of the water company are going to need to be developed, probably at the expense of the developer, and that's a great time for additional capital investment by the developer in the water infrastructure. And any current deficits, I think, would need to be addressed and corrected before they could add on more usage. So I think that's something for us to firmly keep in mind in the land development stage, to make sure that not only is there no deleterious effect on current water usage, but rather that's addressed and improved in the context of this. So I think a great opportunity there. When they're talking about $10 billion or $100 billion in construction costs, there's going to be room in that budget for making sure that the water service is adequate. Appreciate the support of the developers that spoke. Jordan Smith's, I wish I could convince you to be slightly more optimistic about the positive tax revenue effect. I appreciate your maybe skepticism about it, but in Pennsylvania we have real estate-based transfer, or not transfer tax, but real estate-based taxes that are based on the assessed value of the property. And with construction costs that high, and still disregarding the innards, the computers, you're still talking about an assessed value for these things that are in, could be $1 billion. When we apply our millage to those figures, it yields an enormous amount of annual revenue. I see you shaking your head no, but I'm going to respectfully disagree. Yeah, well, that's the budget that, I've seen presentations about these things very recently, and those are current construction costs. I can't get into a back and forth with you, sorry. There's also a real estate business privilege tax that's applicable here in the township. That's a relic that very few townships have. Only first-class townships could ever have a business privilege tax. It was phased out and sunsetted, and only those townships like Swatara that were wise enough to hold on to their business privilege tax and maintain it all these years still has it. That's applicable to all revenue that's generated by a business within the township. So believe me, we're super heads up about that, and it's a unique situation that this township has put itself in. Appreciate the comments of the school district. Indeed, you have the benefit of increasing the tax base substantially without placing any additional burden on the school system. And since the school district's millages are higher, they tend to be the biggest winners when there's a large source of tax revenue generated through the real estate assessed values. Mr. Smith's comments about the construction impact, I appreciated too. And I think that, like any development, whether it's an apartment building or a warehouse or whatever, there's going to be that, local temporary impact during the construction phase. What's nice about these buildings is, although they're highly valued and have a lot of revenue activity, they don't have a lot of the traffic activity associated with it. With respect to security, certainly a very serious concern, but the developers take it, really to heart. They try to place the building as far in the center of the property as they can and put as many fences around as will allow them, that sort of thing. So with that, I'd like to close the record to public comment, turn it back to the solicitor for discussion by the commissioners, and I think that at this point it would be appropriate for a motion to be presented on the ordinance and map change.
Scott, before we do that, if I could just ask you, I would like to clarify, in case it hasn't been stated already, the commissioners tonight are not considering whether or not to allow data centers within the township, because we have to allow them somewhere. I think you stated that earlier. The ordinance that's being proposed would be putting in place regulations and effectively defining where within the township the data centers can go. But they can come into the township if a developer wants to put a data center here. Is that correct?
Yes, they could really submit a land development plan for a data center elsewhere in the township or on these tracks today, and we would have no, requirements associated with data centers at the moment. So, yes, the law says you have to allow all uses somewhere in your township, and we're quickly trying to point to particular areas where we think they'd be appropriate and apply rules to them.
Thank you.
So moved. Second.
All right, I'll go ahead and open it up for discussion.
You just want to go down the line?
Yeah, I have some questions. Did anyone request this change? Do we know if anybody actually requested us to make this change?
I mean, Zach, if you want to go through
I guess the small of it is the planning commission requested the changes.
Well, the planning commission, I'm not sure the planning commission requested the changes. The planning commission takes the direction from the board of commissioners as to what they're going to consider. So and it's my understanding that the planning commission actually made an alternative recommendation that's being as opposed to what's being considered tonight. Am I correct?
Yes, the planning commission comes up with a package of amendments, from my understanding, from Robert every year, and presents.
No, I'm talking about this issue, though.
This is the issue. So one of the components of the packet of amendments was the data center use. So the planning commission, they recommended that it be split into two separate ordinances.
I understand that. I'm asking what prompted the township to go down the road of making these changes. Did someone come to us and ask for it? Does anybody know if a business came to us? If the county, if anybody, did anybody come and ask us to make these changes?
I think I can answer where she's going because I've sat through all the planning commissions. Robert, and I'm not specific to the date. We'd have to look at the planning commission minutes, but I remember sitting in a planning commission meeting and there was several changes that Robert had brought forth to the planning commission, and the planning commission agreed. And one of those changes was data center.
Well,
So the planning commission actually started that ball rolling, and I think it came to us in November. And then November, our board said, okay, move forward. The following month we voted to, or 2 months later I think it might have been, we then voted for unanimously for the solicitor then to go ahead and advertise that ordinance and get us to this point here. So, but the first stage, Commissioner, I think if I'm answering your question right, began with Robert and the Planning Commission on a whole bunch of changes throughout the township. And this was just one of many changes that the Planning Commission recommended.
That's correct.
I find it hard to believe that Robert went rogue and went to the Planning Commission without somebody's direction, but I'll move on. My other question is, what other development is allowed on just the parcel that covers the golf course, as opposed to just data centers? Are we talking about just data centers, or what other development is allowed currently on that parcel?
I actually asked in advance for a list, so if I go down the list and I say something wrong, or there's a lot on here, but one of the things we looked at was specifically the golf course, 228 acres, homes could go there. It most likely because of newly constructed homes, probably townhomes.
Is that right now?
Right now.
Okay.
Yeah, right now. It could be homes. Zach and I looked at, it's 228 acres. You can't build on every space, but most of it would be developed. We came up with 2,482 new homes could actually be built on the golf course, which in conjunction with the school district, I see the gentleman shaking his head. We lowered it. Normally that type of home would have like 4.6 people. We didn't think there was a 0.6 of a person. So on the calculation of 4, that's 9,928 people could actually.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, you're more than welcome to explain that. I was just asking if I could get a list, like a listing.
Yeah,
homes,
I think
what
we
else?
have
I mean,
online.
I don't need an explanation. I just wanted the list of what type of development.
Available online?
It's our use table.
I'm just asking a question for the public's information. Homes, other warehouses? What else can go there?
Warehouses are permitted of a certain size. I mean, to be honest with you, most things we have would be car wash, catering, conference center, construction company, flea market, funeral home, garden center, hotels and motels, laundromats, auditoriums for commercial use, arenas, and then again, apartments, townhouses, twins, single.
Okay,
but I mean, it's pretty
Safe to say
extensive.
that there's a ton of things that you could currently
Cemeteries,
put there.
college, community recreation, cultural center, daycare, adult daycare, dormitories, membership meeting clubs, nursing homes, places of worship.
That's good. I
Yeah,
think, I think I got an idea.
Yeah, it's a lot.
so-
A lot of different uses could go on there today.
Okay, so considering all of those things that could go on there, what is the current assessed value of that property?
I don't know that.
I think, well, I don't know that. I don't know. I was going to surmise it wasn't
know what the
taxable,
current
because,
investment-
but I think it is for profit. Yeah.
Okay. I guess my thought is, I'm really not sure why we're doing this. Nobody came to us and asked us to do it. We can have data centers there now. We're expanding it to include a number of other properties, and no one asked for it. So my question is, why are we doing it?
I can answer that. The reason is to dictate where. Right now.
Why do we have to dictate?
Because right now, it's not addressed in our zoning ordinance. A data center can go anywhere.
But right
now,
now
anywhere.
you need a certain amount of property.
We don't have that listed. That's not listed. There's nothing like that. So you don't. That's not true. You don't.
What is my time?
That's fine, but that's
I'm about to finish up.
yeah,
but I
that's
just have
not
some-
true. It could
so-
go literally anywhere.
Yes, but it can't go in your backyard if
It
you only
could
have a
if someone
3 by
purchased the
3
land.
yard. How
It
big is your
could.
backyard?
Anyone
Are
could
you-
purchase up lots
it
of
can
plots
go
of land.
on your-
There's no regulation. There's
Okay.
no regulation at all.
I really don't want to argue with you. I really just want to finish my points. So my points are this. We don't need this. You and I might differ. We can agree to disagree. That's okay. But I was looking at this, and anything can go there. And I'm looking at these pictures of these residential properties, and there's quite a few. Like here's a house, here's a house, here's a house. There's a lot of people affected here. Here's a house, here's a house. In 2017, when I first got on this board, somebody had asked the board, and I wasn't on the board when the decision was made, but there were quite a few properties that were rezoned as conditional use in this township, and the question came up, what prompted it? Why did we do it? And nobody, despite the fact that at least 3 of those members were sitting here that took that vote, nobody could tell anybody why it was done. But it caused a lot of headaches in the community, and people didn't realize that that change was made until after the change was made. And I think it's our job here to look at all the pros and all the cons and the impact that it can have on our community. And yeah, maybe somebody, made some financial decisions in the past that affected our township budget, but it doesn't mean that this is going to be the panacea that is going to fix everything. And I'm concerned that it's being passed off as a cash cow. That's really what I'm concerned about, because I would like to know what 10 casinos brings in revenue. What does 10 casinos bring in revenue? I mean, I think that's a hypothetical that doesn't belong in a factual decision. So if anybody could tell me what 10 casinos brings in revenue. The solicitor had mentioned it. Solicitor Weiland, are you able to tell me what 10 casinos can bring in revenue?
No, I mean, it's available online, and I used it as an illustrative point
But
and
you
not
threw
for a
that out there.
mathematical.
You don't actually know
Did
the
you want me to
amount?
answer or no? Yeah. So again, I used it as an illustration or an analogy to show you that the value of the real estate itself is multiples of what a casino might be valued at. I think the value of the casino at Grantville was something on the order of $100 million. And so you might have, several buildings that are worth $100 million or more on one site here. So again, it's multiple casinos in one area. In terms of the total revenue that they generate, I don't know, but I believe it's, casinos generate a huge amount of revenue, but are taxed at a very relatively small rate.
Well, I as a commissioner,
Yes.
I as a commissioner am concerned when you throw out an illustration without having any factual information as to how much money that generates. And then my other question is, so say we have, I don't know, you said $1 billion. How much, based on our millage, is that going to bring in?
I mean, again, I might be criticized by you or others for making estimates, but back of the envelope calculations is they could raise several $1 million per year per building for the township
Well, we
based on the
have
township's millage rate.
I'm talking about based on a millage rate, because I happen to know that if anything but a data center goes there, then it's not an extreme amount of money for our township. I think it would be a decent amount of money for the school district. I think it would be a decent amount of money for the county, but I question how much money it's going to be for our township and whether or not our residents are worth that much. I mean, my concern is we don't have factual information. We don't have to go down this road, and we don't even know what's going to be there. The conversation right now may be that the general authority, Dauphin County General Authority, is looking to shop it out to people for sale, and it might be a data center. But what if it's not? What if it's something that brings in a lot less money, but is a lot more of an impact and a headache for our community? We don't have these answers, and we don't have to make the change until we have answers.
I'm
concerned that we're putting a cart before the horse.
Again, there's some danger in estimating, but there are industry data out there about the value of data centers. An operating data center with a value of $1 billion, the township's millage would yield about $3.6 million in real estate tax revenue per year. Again, if there's 2 data centers, then you multiply that if that's the value. Now, the value might be higher or lower than that, but I can't imagine a township that's not gleeful about hearing numbers like that.
And you know what? My thing is a data center can go there right now. We already heard people say a data center can go there right now. I don't understand why we're making the change to all of the other parcels when someone can come to us right now and say, we purchased the golf course, we would like to put a data center there. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think I'm getting all the answers. And that's concerning to me. And I don't think I can support something without actually having answers. It's really, I think, irresponsible for us when there was a long laundry list of things that were read out to me that can go on that parcel, and we're worried about a data center that needs a lot more land. It needs specific type of electricity to be able to run. It needs a specific type of water source. And I don't believe the infrastructure is going to get fixed just because someone says they want to locate there. I don't know that anybody's going to say, okay, we have a business moving into Swatara Township. We're going to invest all this money fixing the infrastructure. I haven't seen it happen yet. It's not a guarantee. It's a hope. As a commissioner, I hope the infrastructure gets fixed. But I don't think it's necessary. I've asked questions early on. I've sent emails early on asking for information that makes me comfortable with this decision. And I have yet to get solid, concrete answers. All I've gotten was illustrations, hypotheticals, and maybes. And as a decision maker, a decision should be based on facts. But thank you very much, and I'm glad to yield to the next person in line.
Commissioner, I'd like to circle back to your comment, and I'll send you this. Contained in Robert's packet on October 4th, 2024, I think there was possibly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 items. I'll just speak to the ones that pertain to this meeting, but I will send you this email as well, the packet that Robert sent out to the Planning Commission. And then the subsequent month after October, a lot of these items became old business, so they had worked on them for some time. And one of the items that the Planning Commission was working on was cryptocurrency mining, data centers, and server farms. It looks like at the bottom he had actually saved this. Zach, this is for you, to the S Drive Planning Commission, possible updates to ZO and SLD.docx. So that just, I wanted to answer your question on that and circle back, because I knew, being in the Planning Commission meeting, I knew that it was addressed in the Planning Commission, and they moved it forward up to us, and then we took the due diligence to keep it moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Steele.
Are we just going in order that we're sitting here?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to start and say, as of January of 24, I have oversight over codes, planning, and zoning. I don't think, I might be wrong here, but I don't think I missed a planning commission meeting, which are the first Tuesday of the month, so there was one last night. But I also attended the planning commission meetings in 22, 23, when I wasn't a commissioner, and I sat out there in the audience. And to address Megan's point, which I think was a great point, but I just want to be clear that on many of the agendas and the minutes, as part of the Swatara Rising, which was a Swatara Rising 2025, we're in 2025, so this would be the time to add the new uses. And just to be clear, new uses are things that come up that you didn't think about before. So the township, it's older than this, but just say the township had 100 years to address where homes go, utilities. Sometimes you're playing catch up. The railroad went where it went. And then around that, you put on major arteries, business areas, restaurants, and then things come up that people didn't want to deal with. One that was hot item many years ago, adult bookstores. Now it's marijuana dispensaries, vape shops. I'm old enough to remember when you didn't have convenience stores on every corner that have gas pumps. So over time, the zoning and planning and the people that were there long before us and now us have to make decisions where certain things can go. If you travel, you see it and you say, why are there 27 t-shirt shops next to each other on this street? And we try to regulate, well, maybe that's where tourism goes, and then they have the freedom to open market if they want to put one next to another one, if Sheetz wants to next to Rudder. So the background is the township, borough, city tries to regulate here in this state. Some places it's county, which I'll address. So that's the job that we have. The gentleman that's sitting here, Zach Golden, started in December of last year. Well in advance of that, the person who was in his spot before, Mr. Eline, had continuously come to the podium and talked about new uses, and we need to get ahead of it because you don't want things coming in. Say you didn't really want marijuana medical dispensary next to a school, so you made a zoning place where it could go. You didn't want an adult bookstore or a vape shop or a convenience store next to a church or your house or something like that. You make rules. Tonight is not the night to wing it because you didn't keep up with what was going on. So I'd like to think that I'm pretty well versed in this role. I was a commissioner 8 years prior to coming back in January, and many things changed. We didn't have something that addressed cremating human bodies. People get cremated. Guess what? We had to change an ordinance to allow a location for that to happen. So things change all the time, and the fact of the matter is there are people that own property. It's their property, and they want to do things that they want to do, and government is not built to tell them no because you don't like it, or tell them to put something else on there. To be clear tonight, we're not making any decision on data centers. We don't own the golf course, and we don't own any of the land. There's people in here that own the land over there. We're just trying to get the zoning right, that if this use came into the township, it would go in a place that we think is right. And I'm saying we, this board, we unanimously, we all voted to send it to the solicitor to get it right. It came to us from the Planning Commission along with other things to get it right. Next week, we will be talking about, I believe, Airbnbs and a couple other items. It was a list of items that was compiled over several years to get it right, and we're still behind. We found out about the Airbnb because there were some operating in the township. The data centers, I didn't know what they were, and I don't even know I didn't know what they were in the summer that just passed. I didn't know. Turns out we actually have a small one operating with no regulations in the township. But I didn't really know the research, the science of it, and I'm not an expert on that. But what I did know, and what I do know tonight, is we don't have a rule that applies to them. And they could come in tonight or tomorrow and pick another spot. And it could be a place that you don't want it. And I'm not saying the other people want it, but this spot has the infrastructure they want, an incredible amount of power. And for someone to say they haven't seen anybody keeping up with this, TMI is restarting. That's been in the works for years. PP&L has invested millions and millions and millions of dollars because they know these data centers are coming. Because you have to have, it's just like putting in roads in a development. The stuff's already there. But to answer some of the questions, and I looked at this seriously, on the golf course, if it was homes, because it's not ours. We're not selling it. I like the golf course. There are deer and turkeys. I mean, it's beautiful. I like the golf course. We're not selling the golf course. We don't own the golf course. The people that are responsible for the golf course are selling the golf course because it's $13 million in debt. If I read that right in the story, one said 11, one said 13. So they're selling the golf course because it's a public entity that's losing money. And in their mind, one of the uses that could possibly go there, among others, is a data center that would generate money. So it would be a quick turnaround. But to give you some of the numbers that my colleague asked about, on $1 billion, if this thing's worth $1 billion, and I did the research, I think it's going to be more. But just say I'm wrong and it's $1 billion, you're going to generate, based on the tax revenue, which I think most people probably know this, you have 3 taxing authorities. You have the county, you have the school district, and you have the township. Those mills on $1 billion is basically the total of the mills that we all pay. And we just had a period. So you just paid your township tax, which is 3.64 mils. So if you have a $100,000 house, you paid $364 for police, fire, roads, us to have this meeting, turn the lights on, $360. But if you have it doubles. If your house is tax assessed at $200,000, then you've doubled that. And then if you have a $300,000 house, then you don't live near me, but you're paying a higher amount. You're paying $1,000 then. But this is where it gets really interesting. The county's millage is almost 3 times that. So to operate prisons, drug and alcohol things, your millage is going to be about a 9. So you're paying on the you're paying $900 of your tax bill if it's probably doesn't want to hear it. But the school district over there, the millage rate is 17, and I want to say about 640, or it might even be a little higher than that. So now you're paying $1,764 on every $100,000 of the property that you own. And I'm going to throw this out there too. That's absolutely incredible. That's the lowest school district property tax in Dauphin County. And if you live anywhere near, not to pick on a neighbor, but if you live near the area where we're talking about with the data centers, you don't live far from Steelton, you don't live far from High Spire, and you don't live far from Lower Swatara. Look up the taxes and look at how much less it is here than there, because the decisions we make. Property taxes raise about $5.5 million for government here. This government spends 17.5. You know where we get the rest of the money from? That real estate transfer that I agree is a one-time thing, but that comes in when property sells. So you get $5,000 on every million. So the big property sale money comes into the township. When the land value increases from farm, or let's just start like this. If you had a plot of land for your home and it was just a plot of land, you might be paying taxes on a $20,000 value for a third of an acre, a quarter of an acre. But once you build the home on it, now the home is worth $275, and now you're paying taxes on that. That's what's going to happen here. We heard a point that Pennsylvania doesn't have a utility-style tax that's in Virginia. Don't know anything about that. I'm here. We heard that they don't have sales tax on data centers. We don't get sales tax. That's a state issue. So the state of Pennsylvania, in order to get these data centers or anything else that they wanted. Into Pennsylvania, waived the sales tax. Didn't affect us because we don't get sales tax. We get property tax. So when they build and the property's worth more, we get more money. So, just to put that out there, this is not a little bit of money. It's already, to me, okay, it's already zoned mixed use. I wasn't on the board, but that one is mixed use. The other side of it, if you look at an aerial picture of the homes that are there, and I respect the property, and I know people like peace and quiet, but you can't always tell people what to do in your neighborhood. In my lifetime here in the township, many years, WITF came in. Now we have the Red Line that may eventually be a drug treatment center. It's in that neighborhood. Chick-fil-A is relatively new. The Sheets, the El Sol Mexican restaurant, all that came into the neighborhood. Then you have a farm, and the people weren't farming. It wasn't our farm. They sold the farm. So I just want to say that the decision we're making tonight is, where are we going to put these things? We can't stop them from coming. So realistically, we have people representing 2 landowners in the township tonight that own large pieces of land. And they see the value in mixed use. Doesn't mean they want to put a data center there. It means they want some options to generate revenue. That's another big tract of land that they bought that probably was a farm. They're probably not going to farm it. So to tell them that you want it to be a farm means they can't sell their land that they bought, that they owned in the United States of America. Like that's what we get a lot of times at these meetings. I own a 2-acre piece of ground in Swatara Township. That doesn't give me the right to tell somebody that owns 228 acres what they can put on it and but as a commissioner, I want to make sure that I'm protecting the residents and raising revenue. And anybody who, and again, that's my committee, and I probably talked the longest, I'm going to wrap it up. But that's my committee, but my job that I get paid $282 a month for, that's what we get, is to make sure things are done right and that you're protected. And I treat that land like it's at my house or my yard. And I know it's a struggle, but I see so many worse situations. And to be honest with you, the data center thing is national. If you're looking at this, Cumberland County is taking a 500-acre property. I think it might be 700. And they're putting a data center on. And right away, the Cumberland Valley School District, whose taxes are 11.5 mils, $600 more for every, you pay to Central Dauphin, and that's a good school district here. Over there, they're hardly, they're not paying much, but they're struggling to educate their students. And I saw in their story, same thing, cash cow, all this money. They want it and they need it for their students. The school district wants it. The county wants it. I believe that's Middlesex Township that wants it. But I would say this. I would challenge everybody here. If you don't know it, look at the millage. Look at what you pay in property tax. And it's a third of the total expense of the township comes from another source. And that's what I want to see happen. We could vote not to do anything, no buildings, no anything. But then you would pay, instead of 1/3, you would pay all of it. So we have a great system here, and we have a great system in place. I have full confidence in Zach Golden here. He's going to defend against it, like, what if they do this, what if they do that? He's on it. There isn't going to be anything like that. I envision this similar to some of the bigger projects you've seen in the area if you travel, that they most likely will place a berm as they're doing their construction, a rounded berm that most people, if you hadn't been here before, would look like a hill. And they're going to want to block your vision of them. I looked it up. They do have security. They have fire suppression system. There's rarely a police call there, okay? But if we put 10,000 humans on the same thing, someone's going to play their music loud or smoke marijuana and blow it in somebody's face. There's going to be an argument. Unfortunately, there's going to be violent crimes. And then we have to hire police. This here is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if it would happen, but we're not voting tonight to allow somebody to put, or to on a data center. We're just saying you could put it there amongst the other things. If you prefer warehouses and you know the landowner, tell them to put in warehouses. If you prefer homes, I'm at the point in my life that the less people I'm around, probably the better. So, I'm not saying that this isn't a place for all these people, but the calculation on and I still call it the Steinfort. Stein Farm would be 1,633 homes if they packed homes in. And if you've seen some of the density housing we have, whether it's Emerald Point, Chestnut Point, many of those could fit on this amount of acreage because they're on a smaller acreage. So that would be 6,500 people. So, I mean, if you're here for the golf course and you're okay with, 10,000 neighbors, higher taxes, building new schools, because the other half of that it actually said 2.5, this is a school district number, about 2.5 students per home. So if you have these two combined, and you have 4,000 homes, Chambers Hill, I think, is maxed at 248 students right now. So where do we put another 500 or 800 at the Chambers Hill level? Swatara Middle School is struggling with, so we do something else to make some people happy, but we build schools and say, now we'll have to build an elementary, minimum, maybe 2, a middle school, and another high school. Already getting 17.5 mils and struggling. How are they going to pay for that with that budget? So just to be clear, this isn't something tonight where you can pick what you like or what you want. We're just trying to put some regulations on something that we're required to allow in the township. If you look at the map there, the gray area that says MU, are we allowed to come on the mic?
Go ahead. Take your microphone with you.
No, I'll just real quick. Okay, so this is all MU. Okay, that's the golf course property. And if you look, this is another area. Our legal people were very careful not to go through the other zones. But here's one more point. You can't say we'll allow data centers, just the words, and then say it can go in the MU district that's on there, that gray map, because we would be sued. That means that one property owner is the big winner. They're getting the data center. And then once it's gone, it's gone. So we tried to be fair and at least add a second place. And it'd be no different than if it was any other industry or business. You're allowed to have banks in Swatara Township, but you can only have one bank, and it has to be at 28th and Paxton Street. That's all we're saying. No, you're allowed to have banks, on main streets or this, if you have a drive-through. It's just putting the regulations in. So I hope I haven't bored you or gone on too long. They know me. I could go for a really long time. So that was kind of brief. But I hope I touched on anything. I wrote down everybody that spoke. I put down your comments. And I think part of it is we all need, even myself, we all need to do more research in advance of these things. But tonight is the night to vote to protect the residents by putting this in place, by putting requirements and all the rules and regulations that will apply if this is built. This isn't the night to say that we're going to get 1 or 2. May never get 1. But we have to apologize for taking up that much time. Thank you.
I won't speak as long. We still have an entire agenda to get to. I'm just going to highlight a few things. The first thing is I want to address a comment in regard to a change in zoning that took place in 17 and not knowing where it came from. Everyone will have in their inbox. I reached out when that was an issue. I reached out to Tri-County Regional Planning and got the information. I just shared it with everyone. It's from 2022. I believe I shared it then. Not everyone was on the board, so that doesn't necessarily pertain to this, but with regard to where a different zoning change came from, I sent that information out to everyone while the other 2 commissioners were speaking. The main thing that I want to highlight is right now, there is no mention of data centers in our zoning ordinance. That means that just because that area is designated mixed use, it doesn't mean that that is the only place that data centers could go. At this point, we're not saying where they can go at all. They could literally go anywhere. If someone, and we also don't have any regulations for a size. Obviously, data centers need size, but we don't have anything that dictates how large a property would need to be to accommodate a data center. So say a developer decided, okay, this is how much space I need. I'm going to buy up homes in a residential area that gets me to what number I decided that I needed to have a data center. They could do that. They could submit a plan tomorrow, and we have nothing in place to say, no, it needs to be this size. No, it needs to have this setback. Nothing like that. So that's why we're acting on this now. It's because we need to be ahead of any kind of plan that would be submitted. It is important. This is something that has to be done, and that's why it's coming up. I'm thankful that our planning commission and our former planning and zoning director had the foresight to bring up these issues. I know it was mentioned of other things. Robert had brought up like Airbnb style rentals and things like that. He's been saying that for a long time. There are a lot of things that we need to modernize and add to our zoning ordinance because we don't have those right now, and we don't want to have any issues. So that's why this is on the agenda this evening. The other point that was made, which is something that I take seriously, we've had other zoning changes that took place in the last 2 years that personally I thought were questionable and could be construed as spot zoning. The reason that the agriculture district is being included in this now, again, was stated so that we can avoid spot zoning. That's something that obviously, like, we don't want to be sued. Our township has had enough with litigation. We don't want to go down that road again. So that's another consideration that everyone needs to take into account with why there's another area. It's not just add addition to the zoning ordinance, it's also a text amendment for an additional area that needs to be changed. It's to create a sense of fairness, which obviously now this evening we've had two other property owners come up and say that they would like to be considered as well, which that's something obviously that could be potentially addressed in the future. But this evening, we need to go with this ordinance so that we can protect residents and make sure that we have something on the books so that if we do get a plan, we can dictate how it processes. So that's all I have. Just go in order. We're going down the line.
I don't have anything to say.
All right.
Okay. Zach, the planning commission meeting, not last night, but the month before. What was the vote to bring this forward?
Regarding the amendment tonight, there was a 4-1 vote, 4 in favor, 1 against, to recommend denial of the map amendment portion only.
Okay, and there was another vote, wasn't there, for the agriculture part?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the vote was to recommend denial of the amendment because it encompasses both the text amendment and the map amendment. However,
Right.
they made a condition that's to tell the Board of Commissioners that they support the text amendment portion to add data center use as a permitted use within the mixed-use district.
Okay, but not the agriculture district?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that was clear. Look, in 2017, there was a change that was made to allow warehousing in, what was the areas?
CG.
CG, thank you. And at the time, the commissioners on the boards that made that decision thought it was a good idea. Down the road, there was a lot of residents that didn't know that change was made, as Commissioner Zubek already stated. And I think we just seriously need to look at what data centers really do, the pros, the cons completely, before we make decisions. I myself have been trying to find as much information as I can before this meeting. And I have a lot of concerns because, I mean, majority of the public, I'm more than just the financial end of things. I'm concerned about that for the residents in our community to be able to afford what we have to afford. But I don't think we should be making decisions based on that. And I'm sure someone out there is planning to put a data center somewhere around here, or it sounds like it anyway. But I have a lot of concerns. Before we make decisions up here, and I understand what you're saying, they could put it near a housing development or whatever. I just don't see how they can do that. You already have different areas in the township zoned for residential, commercial, different things like that. when it comes to this stuff, though, I think, like I stated, what was it, Mr. Commissioner Conley, a few weeks ago, I was talking to you for about an hour about this. I said then, the biggest part of any of this is that we have to know all the pros and the cons and all the information before we make major decisions like this. And that the public's informed of what those things are. And I think that's still a problem to this day. We got to get more information gathered to make sure we're making the right decisions. That's what I'm concerned about. A lot of the points Commissioner Zubek made are very valid, I believe. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything further at this time? All right. Solicitor Coco Rizzi, would you direct us at the next steps? I guess we're up to voting at this point. Is that okay?
That is correct.
Okay.
This would close the hearing, or has that already been closed?
It has not. That was all discussion.
You can close the hearing and then have a vote on this ordinance.
Okay. All right. The time is 8:38. I'm going to go ahead and close out the hearing. And we're going to go back into the regular meeting.
So moved. To approve the amendment, the consideration of the zoning text amendment to add regulations pertaining to data centers and map amendment change certain parcels from agricultural, single-family residential to mixed use.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? I know a lot of the discussion took place during the hearing.
Well, I have on the ordinance, when they were
The ordinance.
the vote. Yeah, so just to be clear, the Planning Commission recommended that we not include the other parcels, rather we just include MU. Is this what we're voting on right now? Does that include everything that was originally proposed to the Planning Commission? Are we going against the recommendation, or is it just the MU?
This includes MU as well as changing the agriculture district to MU.
Okay, so they recommended against that, correct?
Correct. They recommended against the text amendment. Or the map change. They were in favor of the text amendment.
As a point of discussion, I was at the meeting, and it was presented as it is tonight. And there was basically one vote originally, and it appeared that it had passed with one person abstaining. And then they redid it again, and they did two votes. And I mean, I was sitting there, okay, so one vote, five total votes, four and one abstention. And then when it came back, it was, am I right? It was 5-0 for one part of this?
For the first part,
right?
yeah.
And then 4-1 for the other. And I mean, I took the position that, you know, that's a combination of two things. And it was just like most things happen, that put it in my mind that it was a 60-40 based on the two votes. And that's, you know, that's not that uncommon with elected officials. You know, the threshold is 50%, you know, but when you have certain people, that's how it ended up going. So I just want to be clear, because I was at the meeting. So I think Mr. Tuckey had it right, and I think that you explained it right. But from what I saw, you know, there was, to me, that's not a vote to deny and at the same time, just the final factor we had there. To me, that made it seem like it was totally spot zoning if we did it for the county. And I'm not saying that I felt anything was wrong, but you have to remember there was a representative from the county at the meeting who also had input. So, you know, I kind of weighed it that way. They supported that, and you know, I think all of it was kind of put out just based on the numbers. And I'll give my time to Mr. Tuckey.
Thank you. I was at the same meeting, and it was very clear to me they voted 4 against and 1 for changing the piece of property that's AG right now to keep from bringing that forward. That's what happened at that meeting. Also at that meeting, WITF was there, and they have satellites, of course, that they use for what they need to broadcast. And there was major concerns from them because, from memory, they stated very clearly that this would affect their satellites. So, I mean, I'm not going to twist anything up here. I'm going to say it as I saw it at the meeting and the way it is. The agriculture piece of ground, the majority of the Plan Commission board was not okay with bringing it forward for that piece of ground.
I'm not. I think
That's what.
I'm not disagreeing. I just want to address WITF. I spoke to WITF after the meeting, and I think they actually changed their opinion. They were just here out of concern, and they had every opportunity to come back tonight if they were against it. And it's very telling that they didn't come back. So I think their concerns and questions were answered.
So tell me something. Say this board would allow this to happen at that piece of ground, and there was an issue. All of a sudden, the center's being built, and there's a major issue with them being able to continue to keep doing business there. What would happen? Would we be liable at that point, or because we allowed it?
In all fairness, WITF has all types of satellite dishes on the back of their property, and I think the residents could say the same thing, that they're concerned that they would have problems with their signals.
That's not what I just asked.
May I be recognized, Madam President?
Maybe I have an answer to my question by one of the solicitors, please.
Yeah, I'll jump in. My answer when someone, especially an elected official, asks, is the township liable? The answer is always no. And my job is to defend the township. But no, the township is just changing the zoning to allow the possibility of a development there. The land development process is the process where you decide if there's any kind of conflict. And I think what maybe WITF came to the conclusion of after the meeting is that all of the cabling for a data center is underground, and it's light, it's fiber optic. So I can't even imagine. Again, I'm not a scientist, but I can't imagine that there's any sort of interference possible with their dishes. But for the time for them to address it is with their neighbor when the neighbor brings forward the development plan.
I was just going to say it's a very different thing, but it's the same concept as water flow. If one property owner builds something and it changes the flow of water to disrupt a neighbor, that's an issue between the homeowners or the property owners. That's not something the township would be liable for just because we're changing the ordinance to allow this among many other possible uses.
The amount of power you're talking about for these facilities is massive. I just don't see how that's not going to affect their satellites. I really don't. It's not, might be light fibers going into the building, but it's definitely, it was stated very clearly, it's a ton of electric going into these facilities. And you actually need water to be able to protect the equipment that's inside. So, thank you.
I'm just going to say so that it's on the record for our meeting minutes as well. Again, we currently have no language whatsoever in our zoning ordinance relating to data centers. Passing this ordinance will, with the agriculture area, avoid spot zoning so that we didn't just pick one property. And it also will have language now, as well as regulations, for if a land development plan comes forward, that we have a standard. This is what we're going to use to dictate and to ask for concessions and things like that. We have something to bargain with. So that's why this is being presented this evening. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to address, because I did attend the Planning Commission meeting, some of the comments in the first one as it relates to the Planning Commission and their approval or disapproval of the ordinance. Make it pretty clear that the Planning Commission did approve this moving forward as far as just the text. They did not deny this in its entirety, so there's a portion of misrepresentation of what took place in the Planning Commission meeting on March 4th, 2025. With respect to WITF, they did not come to the podium and say they had a major concern. What they wanted done was, if a data center would go into that location behind them, they wanted an RF study just to make sure that it would not interfere with their satellites. They never used the word major concern. They never said that they were concerned about a data center going in there. They just requested that if it would, that an RF study of the frequency waves would be addressed. Most importantly, though, if a data center was to go in there, and we're not talking about land development, some of the questions or comments that are being thrown out here today are more probably appropriate for the land development phase. We're just trying to change an ordinance, like Commissioner Conley said, to bring some protections to our residents. But through my research and some of the things I found, when you hear things such as the infrastructure for water or power, these things have to be done well ahead of time before you invest upwards $200 billion into a piece of property. This is not a small scale land development. When you talk about a data center, you know, you're looking anywhere from 100 million, 150 to $200 billion investment. One of the most important things is, can you get power to that location? If PP&L can't supply the power, it doesn't go there. If the data cannot be transmitted through the lines, it cannot go there. If you cannot get adequate water supply there to cool the equipment, it cannot go there. So these questions will be answered along the way if a data center intends to go there. And I did see you shake your head, so because I was in the meeting and I decided to actually pull up the minutes. And the motion was to recommend denial of the zoning amendment as presented, but would recommend approval of the text amendment portion only. That was actually the motion. So the Planning Commission recommended the text amendment, and they wanted to separate the text amendment and the map amendment out in the same meeting, and they couldn't. So they just agreed in the meeting to approve the text amendment, not the map change.
All right, do we have anything further?
Yeah, I'd like to have every single meeting in this township recorded. Every single one, from here on out.
Right, we all want that, and as soon as the AV equipment is available and we can get onto a YouTube
My
channel,
thing is,
that's what
the
we will
fire board
do.
meeting
We all
was
want that.
recorded last time. All these meetings are being recorded, except for certain ones, like the planning commission. Every single meeting it
I
needs to be
agree.
recorded.
We all agree.
100%.
We're all on the
Not
same
a month
page.
from now, not 5 months from now.
You're aware of the way that our system works right now, where it has to be run.
You have to have one person back there
Right.
to run that camera, run the phone, to
Right.
record every single meeting in this township, please.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Thank
but
you.
again, we all want that. We all want that. I
then
don't
let's
know
do
that
it.
it's necessarily conducive to an individual schedule that is the one that runs.
Then train 2 or 3 people so it can happen, please.
Sure, we can work on that. Again, that's been discussed numerous times, and we all want that. I've
Well,
said
we're not
it.
doing anything about it.
I said it multiple years ago. I said it
I
2 or
was
3
here
years ago. So it's still not
2.5
happening.
years before anything was done about recording. I was here with people in the community.
Right, I was the one that
recording, and
requested that we start the recordings. We have recordings in 2020. Yes, we have recordings in 2020 or 2021.
No, I disagree.
No,
We started
not at all.
recording in January
Hold
of
on.
2022.
That's right.
And our
Facebook.
meeting was the first, our
Facebook.
public meeting
No.
was the first one in January 2022 that was
funny.
recorded
Hold on.
by the township.
We're going to go into the voting, but I'm going to bring up the minutes.
I know exactly when it was. It
I
was
I
after
remember
we
too, because
won
my
the
meeting,
election.
as
right
president
before
of
we
this board,
took
was the
over.
first
Is
one
when
that
you
was
won.
recorded by the township.
We have
point of
audio.
order.
We have audio only
Well, I'm
that
not
took
talking-
place before then.
He's talking about
Right, I
video.
understand.
Okay.
I asked for audio only because we didn't have the capability. So that's what I'm talking about. That was prior
Madam
to
President, I call the question.
being recorded.
Madam President, I call the
with
question.
Facebook. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Divide the House for the vote.
Yeah. Do we have anything further with regard to the data centers?
No, I'll second moving to a vote on this.
We don't even need to do a second, any of that. We're just going to do it. I just want to make sure. I'd like to give everyone the opportunity to speak. I do my best not to stifle anyone. So Secretary Savage, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Tuckey,
No.
Commissioner Zubek?
No.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Vice President Steele?
Yes.
President Ellis?
Yes. All right. That is going to be, I believe it's the first ordinance of the year. It's going to be ordinance 2025-1. That is approved 3-2. We're up to item 7, solicitor's update, warehouse overview.
This is something that I've talked about a number of times before, and I've been through the procedure on the ordinance 2017-7, the litigation over the first iteration of the warehouse, and then more recently the conditional use application that was deemed approved. The current status, as I understand it, is that deemed approval has been recognized and that the land development plan is next for the Smith land. But I think I'm here really to answer any questions that anyone might have about the process in connection with the zoning officer and the current. I'm not aware of the current status of the land development plan, but other lingering questions, or I'm not sure why this is exactly on the agenda, but I'm happy to.
Scott, one item I can mention that was brought up at a meeting last month. There seems to be some confusion between I'll call it the first litigation and the second litigation, and what happened in each of those. The phrases Mushroom Hill and Smithland have been used interchangeably, but there were two separate lawsuits. Can you just speak a little bit to the procedural history of each of those?
I hope I get this right. The Mushroom Hill was the first attempt to develop the Smithland property with a warehouse development. At the time, the ordinance required that some specificity be included in the land development application that had to do with what the use of the warehouse would be, what would be stored there, how many employees, etc. The developer left that blank and argued that he was developing it on speculation, so he didn't have that information to put in the application. The application was denied for the reason that it wasn't specific enough, and the developer appealed. The Court of Common Pleas, I think, reversed and no, the Court of Common Pleas upheld the township's decision, as I recall. Does that sound right, Tom?
I think that was the scathing reversal from Judge Sherry.
Okay, yeah, all right. So it was reversed. And then that allowed the development to proceed. The township then, and again, against my advice at the time, but nonetheless, the township decided to appeal to the Commonwealth Court. And we basically argued at the Commonwealth Court the application was deficient because it did not include the requested information, and that the land development plan should be denied, and that that basically the Court of Common Pleas should be reversed. The township's decision to deny should be upheld, and to everyone's surprise, especially the land development bar, the Commonwealth Court agreed with the township. So that application was denied. The plan died, and it was over at that point. So the next time it arose was during my absence from the solicitor position in early 2022. The commissioners in February of 2022 approved a motion that called for considering whether to repeal ordinance 2017-7. That was the one that allowed warehousing on those tracts. And they scheduled a public hearing for March 9th, at which they were going to debate it. But on March 9th, I think the hearing hadn't been advertised with enough lead time or something. So instead of actually passing an ordinance change, on March 9th, 2022, the commissioners passed a resolution purporting to approve the pending ordinance doctrine, basically saying, although we don't have enough time under the calendar to change the ordinance and disallow warehouses, instead, we're going to pass this resolution that says we're about to do that, and so therefore you can't submit a land development plan to that effect. The morning of the April meeting, when the commissioners were about to enact the ordinance that evening, following up and disallowing warehouses, the developer came in and filed a conditional use application. Now, it's the same property and it was a similar warehouse use, but this one was called the Smith Land application. So they filed a conditional use application. So at that point, the township, and again, I wasn't here, and I learned it after the fact through the appellate record and conversing with Mr. Hall, the solicitor at the time, the township decided to have the zoning officer deny the application for conditional use because the township's position was we were about to change the ordinance, so the pending ordinance doctrine applies here. So the legal question that then caused the case to go on appeal for a couple of years was whether the township was correct in invoking the conditional use application. The other thing to understand is that the municipality's planning code says very specifically what a township's supposed to do when it gets a conditional use application, and it's supposed to hold a hearing within 60 days, and if it doesn't, then there's a deemed approval of the application. The path that the township decided to take by invoking the pending ordinance doctrine meant that the township sort of put all of its chips on that procedure, and at the end of the day, the court disagreed and the township lost, thus, giving effect to the conditional use application and deeming it approved. There's been some argument about whether the township could have, should have, after I was back in the saddle here and the case was over in the appellate courts, tried to have a hearing 2 years after the fact instead of within 60 days. And my considered opinion then, and it's remained unchanged, is that no, that was futile for a number of reasons. One, whenever there's a deadline ticking under a statute, and here it's ticked when on April 6th, the developer in 2022 filed a conditional use application, you ask yourself, what in the law could stop that clock from ticking? And the answer was there's nothing that stops the clock from ticking for that 60-day period. The denial of it by the zoning officer, the appeal to the ZHB, and then the Court of Common Pleas and the Commonwealth Court, none of that stopped the clock from ticking. So the clock ran out 61 days after April 2nd, or April 6th, 2022. Now, in hindsight, let's just play what if, because, if we're arguing about a point, maybe it's just a moot point. So what if we tried to have a hearing after the fact when the case got back after appeal? Well, the developer knew about that potential and basically, threatened to fight us and file more appeals. But I think at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, well, what are we going to do? What was the township going to do if it held the hearing now 2 years later and said, we're going to have a hearing on your conditional use application? Was there some basis to deny the conditional use application at that point? No, there wasn't any basis to deny the conditional use application. A conditional use application really just says, this is a permitted use, but the township's allowed to apply conditions if it wants to. So even if you play out the game of maybe we should have tried to have a hearing, the developer would have just thrashed us with 2 years worth of litigation and probably gotten its attorney's fees paid by us. But we didn't have any basis that I could see to deny the application in any event. So they did offer to come forward with some conditions and negotiate them. And I have to say the developer acted with restraint, honestly. But now we're in a position where the conditional use application was just the first step for the developer. As I understand it, there are no conditions, and the developer is now proceeding with the land development plan. I guess I want to throw out a caution flag. When let's say that the township was unanimous in vehement opposition to this development, even though its ordinances arguably allow it. I'm old enough to know that back about 30 years ago, the developer John Vartan tried to do a development in Susquehanna Township, and the Susquehanna Township's supervisors didn't like it, and they did everything they could to thwart that development. And They denied things that shouldn't have been denied. They took positions that were not legally tenable. And eventually, Vartan had enough of it. He sued them in federal court, and the township wound up settling the case by paying several $1 million to Vartan. I think 5 or 6 of their supervisors were forced to resign. The approvals were obtained, et cetera. So, you can't just mess around and deny things because you don't like them. You've got to follow the law. But anyway, that's my update and summary. Other questions or points we'd like to cover, or you have a big agenda too?
We do. I'll give everyone the opportunity. If you have anything that you wanted to say or ask at this time of Solicitor Weiland. All right.
I just want to add, I talked several times with Mr. Hall, including earlier this week, just to make sure that we understood each other. And when we hang up the phone, I'll say he's a gentleman, and we are very much in agreement on those points that I mentioned.
The only thing I want to add is I did reach out to former Solicitor Kevin Hall and ask if he would be interested in attending to speak, and I didn't get a response. But Solicitor Weiland did let me know that he had already spoken to him the day before. So he was invited, and he did not come.
When was he invited?
Tuesday. Commissioner Zubek was copied on the email, so she was aware because it was your request. Yep. So. But Solicitor Weiland said that he had spoken to him on Monday, so it was recent this week that they had spoken.
There's been a lot being said.
So, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on. We have a presentation of a proclamation. This is for Mary Klaus. I'll read through it real quick. I know we have people that are waiting for visitors' requests and comments. I know you guys got held up for a long time, but this is from our Board of Commissioners. It says, whereas Dr. Simon Mendy, an optometrist in Banjul, the Gambia, has worked with Swatara Township nurse Mary Klaus in Global Health Outreach Vision Clinic in 2022, 2023, 2024, and is scheduled to continue his dedicated service in 2025. And whereas Dr. Mendy, with his exceptional skill and compassion, has made a profound impact on the lives of countless patients at the clinic, many of whom would not have had access to eye examination without his generous involvement. And whereas Dr. Mendy has diagnosed and provided critical care to patients with conditions such as cataract, glaucoma, macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, strabismus, and more, always striving to ensure they receive the necessary help to see properly. And whereas Dr. Mendy has consistently demonstrated a commitment to excellence in the field of optometry, setting a high standard for professional care and enhancing the health and well-being of the individuals he serves. And whereas Dr. Mendy selflessly dedicates his time and talent to his local community in the Gambia year-round, extending his impact far beyond the annual GHO mission, making a lasting difference in the lives of many. And whereas Dr. Mendy's extraordinary contributions to the eye health of the citizens of the Gambia are immeasurable, and his work deserves our sincere recognition and deepest appreciation. Now, therefore, we, the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize Dr. Simon Mendy for his unwavering dedication and exceptional service to the community, both locally and globally. We thank him for his long-standing commitment to serving his community and country, and we honor his invaluable contributions to improving the quality of life for so many. In witness whereof, we, the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set our hands and caused this proclamation to be executed on this second day of April 2025. And it's signed by everyone and sealed. So, Mary, if you want to come grab this. And thank you for your missions that you go on and your outreach. And yes, absolutely.
What number are you at, Mary? How many missions?
I'll be leaving commission at 63.
She said 63. So, but yes, and Mary said that she'll speak during visitors' requests and comments. So we're happy that we could provide that. And Now we're going to go into item number 9, visitors requesting comments. I'll have you come forward. Please state your name. Megan, I'm going to ask if you could thank you, I'm sorry. And then, so you'll state your name and address. You'll write them down as well for our record keeping for the minutes. And then if you could try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And it's 9:04 on the clock back there. We're going to limit this time frame to 30 minutes. So
You already know why I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of simplifies that. What I want to know is what could you guys do? It doesn't have to be anything that deals with a lot of expense, but we have to get some kind of control over the speed on our streets. And I don't know what happens to society nowadays, but nobody can read stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And we have a three-way intersection up here at Arnie and 50th Street. And I sit out there and watch in the morning sometimes, and nobody stopped. Now, I talked to a police officer back about a week ago, and they started sending units up to sit there to deter what they were doing. Yeah, that's going to stop it for that, but it's going to come back.
Right.
All right. So what we want to do is maybe find some way, not something expensive, to try to put a sign or something here, some kind of lighted sign so they can see it when they come over the hill to slow down. I don't know if that's going to help or not. And we talked about speed bumps. Is that expensive?
The police chief is sitting over here. So everything you're saying, and I think he took some notes before, but to be honest with you, I think that the best thing to do is have the dialogue that way, and he'll answer the questions. And if it's something that he has to meet with you or come out there,
Yep.
That'd be good. Okay, thank you.
And believe me, this is not that uncommon. And the only thing worse than people, I think, that can't read stop is that when someone stops when it was their turn to go in the similar, you know what I mean? That happens too. And the whole flow is off, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's an issue all over the place.
471.
And if you want to provide his phone number, do you have contact information yet?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Kraling in the back will get information from you. And you're welcome to.
I kind of ditto about the speeding and the stop sign usage or applications. One, I'd like to thank, on Monday we drove down to 50th Street and Dairy Street, turned left, and there was a crew of 5 or 6 individuals picking up debris.
Yeah.
That section of Dairy Street it collects everything. And I just wanted to compliment the township. I'm not sure who that group was, but they were doing a great job.
Just credit
Thank you.
that's a group that is called CEO, I believe, Center for Employment Opportunities. Most of them had some issues with the law in the past, and it's a way for them to get back to work. And the company is actually founded by a young lady that lives in Harrisburg that we have worked with or had conversations with, and we're seeing if maybe we can add some more services. But a special thanks goes to Dauphin County. Dauphin County, through a grant program, funds for those people get paid. And I don't want to get too deep in it, but they actually get paid the day they work. They get their money on a card because, you know, they a lot of times there's banking issues and things like that. But they're doing a great job. They started about 2 weeks ago. We gave them major corridors in the township. No disputing that Dairy Street is bad. The worst time of the year to see the trash is March, because there could be snow before that, but the winds of March blow trash all over the place. And I'm going to be announcing at the end, but if you're smart, you won't stay that long. No, I'm kidding. But we do cleanups on. We do 4 times a year. Swatara Township does cleanups. Now it might change for weather, but we do a Martin Luther King cleanup. Then we come back April 19th this year will be a Earth Day cleanup, and I think every year for the last 12, I think this will be 13 years, at least one of those cleanups, and several of them in this April time, have been down Dairy Street. And we'll be posting some pictures with the announcement. The amount of trash that ends up normally on the Norfolk southern side ends up resulting in our highway crews filling big trucks and maybe more than once. And it's an unfortunate thing. I'm not saying it comes from Norfolk Southern, but that's where the wind puts it there. We have it out in front here. One side of Eisenhower gets the trash, one side of Harrisburg Street, the major corridors. But I will say this, usually after that April 19th, and that's not the only cleanup. This week, I know of 5 cleanups, not counting the one you're talking about that took place in Swatara Township. And this is for anybody, and it'll be posted tomorrow. We'll put the information about the Earth Day cleanup and the location of where we're going to meet. We can't say right now where we're going to meet because these other cleanups are working through. So we're going to meet the place that has the most trash. So we'll announce that a few days ahead. But we do know the time is 9:30 to 11. We provide the grabbers, the sticks that pick up the litter, trash bags, gloves, vests. We provide all that. Probably don't realize this, but over 1,000 people have participated over those 13 years. And I'm saying we get 50 at a time or 40 or 20. It might be the same people.
Sure.
I think, I may have been at most, if not all of those, and other people come at certain times. But we're going to make available, we've done this before, and there's actually a lady in the back named Deborah Knowles who's taking advantage of this. We'll make available right here at the front of the township building. If somebody comes in, we have the orange bags, we have the vests, we have the gloves, we have the grabbers, we have the pickers. You can clean up your own neighborhood and then notify us where you left the bags and the debris. Mr. Traffic over there in the green shirt will then come out and pick it up. If it's small enough that you can take it to your house and dispose of it, we appreciate that too. But there's no day in a calendar year that you cannot or be a group and we've had these people that I mentioned and I want to be clear, the county is funding it, and they work in Harrisburg, and they've been giving them to us like 2 days a week, and they're doing a tremendous job. There's more litter than what they could ever clean up, but there's not more litter than what we can clean up if we all do it. That's,
well, the northwest winds push everything.
And it's very disappointing sometimes after they do it. The next day, it could be as simple as somebody unintentionally having a handful of napkins at a fast food restaurant to blow out of their hand. Yeah. So right after you saw it cleaned up, it's all blown, they can't chase it down. But just to finish up, so any day, and it'll be posted tomorrow, we'll have, during the business hours, somebody could come in and get those supplies. If you want to do a group cleanup, let us know, and we can work out the details of that too, because sometimes we provide police protection or the highway trucks. Sure. But it certainly is a problem, and we can let those people know. Mr. Tuckey was also involved with getting that group, so we can reach out and let them know that their work is truly appreciated. And like I said, everybody's welcome to join us on the 19th, 9:30 to 11. You'll be surprised if you work with that group how much trash you can clean up and how much of an area we can get through. And I'll be clear on this too. Every area of the township has been involved in the cleanups. We don't always, it's not just Dairy Street. We do a back to school cleanup and we go around all the elementary schools. We also go around the parks in the township. So another area that was heavily littered was the area that's under construction now at 322 Chambers Hill. And we've actually had cleanups there and we've done that one and some other places on Thanksgiving morning. People come out on the day of Thanks cleanup. Best day to do a cleanup because somebody's making the food. So when you go back home, you can eat that. But there's not that much traffic on Thanksgiving morning. You'd be amazed how you can work on the interstates. But it's an ongoing problem, and we do get some assistance on the state roads from PennDOT crews. They'll come through and pick out their areas. So,
my wife and I just want to say thanks, and we really appreciate the efforts. One of the recommendations I would make is that the stoplight at 50th and Dairy on the east side of the light. There's a section of roadway that just keeps getting patched and patched and patched and patched. It's rough. My recommendation is that at some point, hopefully, you can do some basic work beneath the substructure of that road, which is really why it's deteriorating.
So just a point, I'm gonna refer to Kevin on this, but I do want to say, I had reached out to Kevin probably about, a couple months ago now, and asked that Dairy Street be addressed. It is a PennDOT, that portion of Dairy Street does belong to PennDOT, so it took us a little while, but I do want to thank Kevin for his efforts, because over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks actually, when we really started applying the pressure, and I even told him, have him reach out to me. I'll tell him we need patching. But the 5,000 block of Dairy Street just this week was filled, And then I'm wondering if there's a portion that they might have missed, Kevin, but I'll defer to you on that.
So, yeah,
And thank you for your efforts.
No, thank you. I just wanted to give you an update. I was actually out there today, spent most of my day out there in a meeting. And PennDOT was there at 50th and Dairy going out towards the post office in Hebron. That whole section now has been milled and overlaid. So fingers crossed it'll hold, and hopefully that one's behind us and we'll just move to the next one. So yeah, it was good news when I saw it, because I do receive a lot of requests to get that area filled. But as Commissioner Zubek said, that was a PennDOT road, a state road. So
Who do I tickle at PennDOT?
We have, just to be fair, we're represented, just like you're coming to us. PennDOT is a state agency, and we have a state representative, and we have a state senator. So,
It's District 8.
and it's District 8.
If you look up the District 8, representative, that's who. District 8, yep.
District 8 representative, or reach out to your, and that, they like constituent service. So if you call and give them an area that's more under their, responsibility, they can make the call or meet with you.
Okay.
And we enjoyed having you, so I'm not trying to get rid of you, but I'm just saying there's different responsibilities that are governed by different people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to say we had a lot of residents reach out to us about concerns with all the trash around the community. Thanks to Kevin and Mike contacting Mike Priest. They worked together on, there's actually grants through Dauphin County, like was stated. And fortunately, there's also everything you said about with the trash bags and the pickers and stuff, they actually have all that to where we don't have to pay for it through the township right now. That's also part of the grants. So I appreciate everything they're doing, because they're doing a heck of a job. And thanks again, Kevin, for everything you do.
Megan O'Neill, 5870 Bell Road. There is a pothole form on PennDOT's website. It is great to use. I used it. I actually reported the stop sign at the doctor's office at Keckler, and they replaced it the next day. So if you guys saw that, that's because I reported it to them. So I got a question. If the ML district was changed instead of changing the MU district, would that have that changed, made us change the map as well? Because I brought that up in the planning commission, and so I'm wondering if we change the manufacturer limited area, which is all the purple stuff, which where we have warehouses, and we just started with that, and that's what I suggested at the planning commission, and they didn't hear. They didn't change anything. I also asked about protections of residents. This is an ongoing issue for over 4 or 5 years now. We need protections in our zoning ordinance to protect against residents and warehouses. 150 feet from a house, 200 feet, I think is from schools, from churches. We need to do this now. Like, we need to act on this now. We're having all of this development come in before we get the plans. I think that's the next thing that needs to be addressed, because these things are coming and we have no regulation to stop them but 75 feet from people's houses. And as we know from the years we've been coming here, 75 feet's not enough next to houses, next to churches, next to schools. And I'm begging all of you, please, finally, do something about this. I don't want it next to people's houses. They don't want it next to their houses. I brought up in the planning commission meeting that we should have a bigger buffer on there, and we should add that in there. But they said, well, it's they don't want to go next to houses, but we need to make sure that's in our laws, because they will. And then lastly, the area on Mushroom Hill Road at the end of Penhar. I've already talked to you, Tom, about that. I want to make sure that's on record, that I have concerns about that area. Cars crossing that double yellow line. Anyone that lives around there, seen accidents, almost accidents, cars stuck in the middle of 322. That intersection is dangerous. The thought of Smithland potentially putting an emergency access on there, and you see what happened with Dunkin' Donuts, and This was just a road from behind there, and now we're having all of this traffic. So I don't think that any plan putting a road, even an emergency, on Mushroom Hill Road is smart. So I would like a comment from someone on the zoning changes, our solicitor maybe.
So
What is your question?
just to be clear, what you're asking for something for referral to the planning commission would be to review buffers and setbacks. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my first question was about if we changed a map because we didn't want to have spot zoning. If we just made the manufactured limited area to allow that use, which would have allowed it by right in the multi-use district, why didn't we do that? Why wouldn't that not have done spot
Just to be
zoning?
clear, are you talking about adding data centers to the ML?
I'm talking about instead of, like I said in the planning commission, and instead of worrying about the spot zoning, just adding it to ML, which mixed use
data centers.
Yeah,
The data
and then
centers.
the mixed use could have used it too, and then we could have had it in all those purple areas, and then gone through the Swatara Rising, and then adjusted all the agriculture areas with what the community wanted instead of making this rash decision. And I think it was a mistake changing the map, especially when you heard two other developers, two other landowners that would have loved the same. Why did we just picked someone else? Why don't we pick them? And that's kind of spot zoning.
Just to give you a real quick answer, we took the recommendation from the planning commission and then we gave it to the solicitor to find the best place with the least impact. I know you're advocating for a data center where the Mushroom Hill
The mall
warehouse-
is in. The data center could be at the mall if you did that.
No, but Megan specifically
Also.
has been advocating for a data center on the 165 acres at Mushroom.
I suggested that was a better use than a tractor trailer and UPS or Amazon.
Yeah.
But we need. This is why I'm saying we need regulation, because the people up at Hawker Drive do not deserve a warehouse 75 feet from their house by use. They don't. The application date started yesterday, I think, of the preliminary plan that they reviewed. So if our solicitors, do we have time to add and change this quickly so that we make sure that our residents are protected?
Once it's submitted, it's whatever. A
Well,
good
that's
example of
preliminary.
this, understood, but a good example of this is what just happened with the warehouse situation in the first place. It was submitted when it was still CG, or when it was still warehousing as a principal use. The change didn't take place when the application was submitted. You heard all of the how it transpired through courts, and it reverted back to what it was the date that the application was submitted. So it was submitted. Whatever is in our ordinance right now is what we're bound by.
All right. So
And
the future,
also for that one, you're talking like that was years and years ago. There was nothing that we could do for that particular.
all right. So for future stuff, all these plots of lands that we're looking at, people developing on, I think we need to have that the first priority of our township at this point right now. With all the fighting we've had, all this stuff going on, this is going to make all five of you agree.
Understood. Thank you.
Lisa Nider, 6140 Hawker Drive, Harrisburg. I just wanted to add some more points to the solicitor's update for the warehouse overview, because last night at the Planning Commission meeting, they did propose their land development plan. And just some more information for the public that we received last night. There's going to be almost 200 combined docks for tractor trailers. That's supposed to be phased in 322. And there's over 800 parking spaces. And the parking lot is on the residential side of those buildings. The plan is to use Penhar Drive for access and Mushroom Hill for emergency access. Traffic is still the biggest concern. There's only been a scoping meeting with PennDOT to date. There's potential wetlands down there, small areas, but Smithland still has to get with DEP on that, so no information to date. The warehouse along Rupp Hill Road has been moved a little further away from the residents. Another major concern are the slopes. They're anticipating a 3-to-1 slope, and they do anticipate having to move ground. It is rock under there. So there's a concern for the stormwater and potential flooding, flash flooding. We already have serious flooding issues on Grayson Road. Also, there's still no tenants, so I just wanted to add some of that stuff. And I wanted to let you know that you could remove 11C, D, and E from your agenda tonight because they've already been promoted, so they don't need your authorization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zoloftus, 5631 Plainview Drive. Thank you. You're so good with that. Okay. I want to thank you for finally taking up the issue of the litter around town. I had an event on February 22nd, and I was highly embarrassed by the appearance of the township at that time. It was disgusting. I am glad that we are finally cleaning things up. Now, it's nice that we have groups that are out there helping us, and we've got grants and whatnot, but what happens between those cleanups? Why don't we have our street crew periodically go through and pick up things? You know, you cross the Swatara and you go over to Lower Dolphin Hershey, and they don't have the litter problem that we have. I don't know what's different between us. You know, it's very, very apparent. Grayson Road is a mess with the litter. It's just a mess. And along, particularly where you come out of the rail yard and going over to the ramp there, it's a pigsty. It's terrible. So I just want to let you know. Then also we've got businesses, Walmart, Aldi, that whole outfit down there. It appears that they just don't care what blows up on those banks. You know, they just let it go and it sits there forever. It looks disgusting. I'm just letting you know. Okay, so also tonight, I feel like what happened here with not taking the two issues with the text and the incorporation of the zoning of these particular parcels, I just feel like that was a disservice to the people in Oberlin. It was a disservice to the people in Bressler. We're not taking into consideration what is going on in those communities, what could the possible EMFs be for their health and the families. I just feel like nobody considered that, and we did not research this well enough. Okay? Then also, I would like to say, with regard to the audio visual, okay, and not having it at meetings, I'd like to know, we do have a drone, right? Do we have a drone now? I heard we have a drone.
Yes.
And how much are we paying for our drone? Does anybody know?
It's like 20,000.
20,000? Maybe we can fly the drone into some of these
Significantly
meetings.
less than what we're going to be spending for the audio visual. We voted to purchase the audio visual. Once that's up and running, once the construction is done, then that's.
And what is the drone going to do?
The drone
The
has,
drone was just called out to help
the drone
find an
helped
11-year-old
solve a murder as
autistic
well.
boy.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's aerial
okay.
surveillance.
That's fine, that's fine. We have a
It's
drone.
very good.
It just
But-
was in the news, every
Yeah.
station, like a couple days ago.
But we never had to have one before, you know, so.
We had
It's something that
access to
helped
one.
find a child.
Well,
and
that's
it's-
fine.
Right, and it helped solve the only
applaud
murder that
that.
took place in this
I
township.
applaud that. I applaud that.
Yeah.
But it seems like sometimes we get our priorities a little
Yeah,
messed up here
that's a
with this
huge
group.
priority.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what I requested a little bit ago in the meeting is that we have more than one person trained to be able to do what we have right now until the other system that we're buying is put in. It's very simple request for each of the meetings.
Noted. You made the request. We heard you.
And is it going to be followed through or is it going to be ignored?
That would be a personnel thing. We'd have to identify someone that's able to be trained. That's not something that we're going to talk about in public. So again, that's something that I would like to see. I think everyone up here is in agreement that that's what we would like. It hasn't taken place for a very long time. We're taking the steps to get to that point. We need to get the audiovisual equipment, but we can work on that. That's,
You have it right
President
now,
Ellis. President
right there.
Ellis.
yeah.
I just want to say thank you for your consideration. We did have somebody, I think we do have one other person that is trained. So if you would just consider that individual and whoever
That's-
else might.
I can't,
Yeah.
we
No, I
we can't
understand.
make people show up. That's the thing.
I
Like,
understand,
we
but I
can't
think
make
he was
them
gracious
come.
enough to offer before, so I'm just throwing it
Yeah,
out there. that,
absolutely. I would love that.
That we did have another person here, and I think he may be.
I would
suited
I
to
would
be able
love
to do
that because I don't get I can't I have an obligation on the nights of the planning commission meetings. I serve on another board. I can't come to them. I don't get to see them. I would like to watch them too. So
I'm
we're
not-
all on
yeah,
this.
it's no argument here. I
like,
just wanted to point that out to you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we can work on that. But again, that's personnel. That's not something that we're talking about right now during visitors requesting comments. So do we have any other visitors requesting comments at this? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Commissioner Connolly stole like 10 minutes, so go for it. Yeah. Yes.
Hey,
Yeah, you.
that was brief.
Right.
Sometimes less is more.
You're very wise, Mary.
It's the newspaper woman in me. Mary Klaus, 447 Pritchard Court. Thank you very much for the proclamation that I will be taking to Dr. Simon Mendy, an optometrist in the Gambia in Western Africa. He will be very surprised. I'm going to present it to him in front of his people and our people when we come together as a mission group at a special service that we do before we kick off the mission. And it didn't really cost anything to do, but it means a world to honor somebody for all his work. I'll tell you about it when I come back. I have a 35-hour trip back, so I should be back in time for your meeting in May. I'll come back in early May, and I will, if I'm alert enough, I will come and tell you about it.
Can you take video or pictures and Zambia?
I can take some pictures and send them.
Take some pictures for us.
I will take some pictures of him with the proclamation.
That would be great.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yep.
I think he'll be really tickled. I'm also taking to him 2 pieces of very expensive equipment, ophthalmology equipment, one of which I had to learn how to use because I have to teach him. It's that device that when they check your eyes for your glaucoma, for cataract pressure that you don't like when you open your eye and something pops at you. Well, I had to practice on the people at the Kerwin Eye Institute in Hummelstown, and all of their staff members had to be my guinea pigs. Poor souls. But I feel a little better at it. I want to go back for one more day of training at it because I'll be leaving with the equipment, and I have to teach him how to do it right. Also, I just wanted to say the Chambers Hill Fire Company has 2 more all-you-can-eat fish dinners coming up the next 2 Fridays. We serve from 4:30 p.m. to 7, and we have a real good menu. We've been having tremendous turnouts, and everybody's been real happy with our meals. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. And I always ask this, but go ahead and tell everyone about your secret recipe for
Not Shayla, it's a secret, but I will say that that's tomorrow's stewed tomato day. I'll be making, myself and another lady make 240 pounds of stewed tomatoes every Thursday, and we'll be making them tomorrow again. I made apple pie. I thought this meeting might go long when I saw the agenda, so I was working on my apple pies tonight, and I got that done. So we have lots of good homemade food, so come and join us for dinner on Friday night.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mary. All right. Do we have any other visitors requesting comments at this time? All right, we're actually still within the 30 minutes. So we are up to item 10, motion to approve the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion with regard to the agenda? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. We're up to item 11, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Just on A and B, is this just someone being promoted within the police department and a new hire coming on board, or what is A and B on the other consent agenda item?
I'll defer to Superintendent Stauffer for that information.
Yeah, Commissioner, it's not a new hire, it's the same person, just a change in job duties and job title.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anything further? All right, hearing nothing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're up to item 12, consideration of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes 1 and 2 for March.
Second.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. We're up to item 13, our subdivision land development plans. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our Director of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Golden.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The first item is consideration of a financial security reduction for Home 2 Suites. It is the new hotel up the street. They're requesting a financial security reduction in the amount of $241,074, and it will go down to $7,326. Dawood Engineering and also HRG has recommended approval of this reduction.
I'll make a motion that we approve 13A and B with the consideration that they have fulfilled all obligations to the township and that their accounts are current.
Second.
All right, do you want to go over B as well then?
Sure. This goes back a long ways to 2010, the Wellington Manor Phase 6. So the original applicant reached out and stated they still have a small financial security reduction. We looked in our records and sure they do. $550. It was for the placement of 2 concrete markers. Dawood did an inspection and they were recommending a full release.
All right. Does anyone have any comments, questions for those 2 items? Discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're up to 13C.
Yes, this is for they're requesting a time extension for Cloverleaf Motel Incorporated, their minor subdivision plan. It expires, the next meeting would be your last opportunity to act on that. However, they need a little bit more time and they're requesting an extension until May 14th.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion or questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, that is approved as well. We're up to item 14, acceptance of Swatara Township Cost Sharing Joint Personnel Committee recommendation.
I would defer to Commissioner Zubek because she's the member from this board. I'm the member from the Stormwater Board. And yeah, put it up on your papers.
Yeah, so we interviewed several individuals and narrowed it down to an individual who's highly qualified, we believe, and went back and forth with numbers. At the end of the day, there's going to be, the cost sharing there. So, we conducted multiple interviews, for the shared position of manager personnel, human resources generalist, and after careful consideration, the Joint Personnel Committee is unanimously recommending the hiring of Ms. Shannon Fink for this role. So if there's any questions about the, I can attest to her experience, and she was well vetted by the committee.
I make a motion we accept the joint personnel committee recommendation.
I'll second that.
Can we amend the motion to include the item 15 as well as the authorization to hire?
I'm not sure. Thought we had to do the one before the other. Any solicitor advice? I'll change my.
I mean, they're really the same thing.
Yes,
so
right.
okay.
No harm
I make a
combining the
motion
two.
that we take the joint personnel committee recommendation to authorize the hiring of Shannon Fink. So that's
There you go.
both.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, those two items are approved. We're up to item 16, engagement of Man Woodward for architecture and engineering services. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Now, by way of discussion, this is a step that needs to be taken. I don't remember what meeting it was, but we selected a building plan from the plans that were available to the township a few months ago, and this is the step that's needed to move forward with the plan that was selected. Do we have any other discussion at this time?
I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I am going to express my opposition to this.
Understood. Any further discussion at this time? We'll do a roll call vote. Secretary Savage, could you please do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Tuckey?
No.
Sorry, she's in the bathroom.
Microphone.
Commissioner Zubek?
No?
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Vice President Steele?
Yes.
President Ellis?
Yes. So engagement of Man Woodward for architectural and engineering services is approved 3-2. We're up to item 17, approval of quote for Whitmoyer Ford Chevrolet. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Can we get an explanation for?
Our chief superintendent is in need of a vehicle the way they've been rotated out. So this is for your use, am I correct? So if I have the numbers right, it's in the budget, and I think it'll still leave around $100,000 in that line item. We already spent 100.
We have 100, 150.
So this would be 100. This would be, won't this make 150 of a $250,000 budget
Yep.
item? Okay, so it's something that the main thing is two things. It's needed and it's in the budget. It was pretty much an expected expense. We do have a description of the vehicle for anybody that's interested in their package.
I would like to know. So, what is the cost of the vehicle?
It's
55,000.
yeah, $55,175. It's on page 16 of.
Yeah, I'm just
all that
asking
info.
for the
Yep, for the
edification of
record.
the members and the record.
Yep.
And then can I ask? I know we've always, as far as the police department, gone with. So is this a Ford or is this a Chevy?
It's a Chevy.
So is there a reason why we're transitioning from Fords to Chevys? Is there, because I know I looked at the gas mileage between the Chevy and the Fords, and although they're probably the equivalent to each other, the Chevys tend to have higher, they use more gas.
Yeah.
So is there any explanation as to, is there a reason why we're making this transition?
The transition of more towards a meeting that took place between personnel, finance, and public safety when we discussed the command function of the captain. Excuse me, you don't have no captains. Your lieutenants and the chiefs. If you look at their vehicles, the way they're equipped now, they're actually the way essentially the incident command system is ran on fire. Commissioner Zubak, the police are really beefing up that role for themselves. So a command box out the back, stuff like that. That's why you see the larger vehicle for the command staff versus the patrol officers. They will still maintain the Fords like you talked about. It's just strictly just the higher ranking lieutenants and the police chief. So when they come out on the scene, they have all the equipment they need to run a large scale incident.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, that is approved. We're up to item 18. This is actually going to be a ratification of a resolution, display signs and banners on utility poles across State Route 3012 Dairy Street. On March 21st, 2025, our chief of staff sent an email to all 5 of the commissioners because this is something that needed to be acted on for PennDOT ahead of this meeting. So she requested, everyone reply to her individually so that we were in compliance with Sunshine and let her know whether or not you would be in favor of this. So now we're coming back and ratifying this resolution. So,
Motion to retroactively approve display signs and banners on utility poles across Street Route SR 3012 Dairy Street. Resolution R 2025, and I don't know what number you're at.
27. This one will be 27, yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, that is approved. And for the public, this was already presented to PennDOT so that we met the deadline to make sure that we'd be able to. And this is to display banners for the Senior Fair, Family Fun Fest, National Night Out, and Labor Day. So there's a deadline for a time frame of when it needs to be done. So that's why it took place ahead of time.
Just to add to that, we were just waiting on the PennDOT approval, and Lieutenant Kraling did get that from.
That's 27.
Yep, he got that from the PennDOT to be able to close down Dairy Street for the Family Fun Day. That leads me to my motion. Motion to approve item 19 and 20 repository bids for each separate parcels.
I missed that part.
I'll second. So, Solicitor.
He can explain it better.
Yeah, Solicitor Kokorezi, if you just give a brief explanation. We've had these before, but just for the public, so that everyone gets a chance to hear it if you're first time coming to the meeting or first time watching.
Yeah, briefly, properties can be put up for judicial sale or sheriff's sale. If they don't sell, they go into this repository where essentially anybody can place a bid to purchase the property free and clear of liens, encumbrances, etc. That does require the host municipality to express opposition or support for that purchase. There's pretty limited reasons why you can oppose those purchases. So this is, it is just a formality that has happened in the past with different properties as well.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion to approve item 19 and 20. Do we have any further discussion at this time? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I haven't been saying any opposed. We've been getting unanimous, but I'll start making sure I say that. So that's going to be 19 will be resolution R-2025-28, and 20 will be resolution R-2025-29. Those are both approved. We're up to 21, approval of memorandum of understanding between Swatara Township and the Dauphin County District Attorney's Office.
Motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second if you include 22. They're
Yes.
both one and the same.
Yeah.
Is that your motion?
Motion is
For-
for
I'll second to include
21
that.
and 22.
Go ahead, Jen.
All right, and would you be able to give a brief overview, Superintendent Stauffer, again for the public?
Good. All right. Yeah, like last month, this is another MOU between the township and the county for a county task force. It's made up of police officers from several different agencies in the county. This particular one is the gang task force, which is a long-time team in Dauphin County. It's vitally important for the safety of our community and for Dauphin County.
Thank you. All right, do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, items 21 and 22 are approved. 22 is going to be resolution R-2025-30. We're up to item 23, consideration of resolution authorizing the sale of Swatara Township Police Department firearms. I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and then again, yes, you could just give a brief overview for the public.
Sure, just for everyone's information, I believe it was in 22, LT, that we switched over from the 45 caliber platform to the 9mm platform, or is it 23? But in any case, our 45 caliber handguns need to be sold, and in order to do that, we need the board's approval to follow through with that sale. Some of the firearms would be sold to the individual police officers that carried that particular gun as part of their job. And for people like me that don't care to buy that gun, it would be sold to a local gun shop. I believe we're looking at a gun shop down in Anvil that we do business with.
And I just want to say, I know Officer Kramer did a lot of the work.
He did.
He came to my house numerous times for me to sign the forms so that these could be transferred. So just give him my thanks. I know he worked very diligently for a long time to get through all of these weapons. So,
Sure will.
yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that's going to be Resolution R-2025-31. We're on number 24, consideration of resolution adopting a Swatara Township job position policy.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I wrote some notes to give a little bit of an
Yes,
overview. So this came about from the Personnel Committee and obviously all the other different department heads discussing some type of procedures that we could have for creating, modifying, suspending, abolishing, and filling job positions within the township. The main part of this is, one, it ensures the staffing aligns with operational need, budgetary constraints, and as well as legal requirements. So I'm just going to highlight some of the key sections without reading over everything in detail. You have the resolution, you have the policy, and then I think you might have almost a 20-page document that lists out those JP numbers, and I'll go into them here in a minute. But some of the key things is the first part is establishing a job position, right? So a need for identification. Department heads essentially will assess for the new positions based on the workloads or their service demands. The next step to that would be creating and developing a job description. So essentially they will collaborate with HR or with the relevant departments to create a detailed job description. Obviously, you know from the numerous personnel committee reports that is still a work in progress as far as our job descriptions and revitalizing them and going back through them. The next step of the JP process will essentially, when I say JP, I'm saying job position, each individual position within the township, will be the approval. The HR department submits a request, including the job description and the budget to the Township Board of Commissioners for approval. And then at that point, the department head and HR will go into a recruitment stage. Hiring will always still be subject to the board approval. There's a next step also where amending a job position. So again, the need to identify an assessment, department heads or HR assesses the need for amendments due to changes in operations, budget, or legal constraints. Again, there's an approval stage to that as well, where the amendments to a job position are reviewed and approved by the township board after HR prepares a report. The policy states that there will be a report based upon the impact and the budget as well. Another stage that is within that policy is suspending or abolishing a job position. Again, the identification portion will be the position may be suspended or abolished due to factors like budget constraints or reduced workload. One of the key points of that is under the review and approval, HR reviews the proposal to suspend or abolish a position, and the board must approve the suspension or abolishment. Employees are notified in the form of their rights if a position has been suspended or abolished. Not option 4, but another step is filling a vacant JP position. Vacancies, the identification position again is when a position becomes vacant, the department head requests board approval to fill that position. then you go to the next step, which is the recruitment part. HR conducts the recruitment process, including interviews, with the final candidate approval by the Township Board of Commissioners. One thing that I didn't put in my notes that is in your policy, if this relates to a call shared position, obviously that stage is, there's an additional stage because the joint personnel committee, just like we did with the HR rep, is going to have to be involved in a portion of that recruitment part before it goes to the respective board that is authorized to hire. And then just the general provisions, basically job descriptions are reviewed annually or as needed. One of the key components is transparency. All decisions regarding positions are documented and must be approved by the Township Board at a public meeting. And overall, the compliance, all actions must comply with relevant laws, including labor, civil service regulations, and as well as collective bargaining agreements. And at this time, I think that we can entertain any questions, thoughts, or concerns.
Does anyone have any discussion at this time?
I'd just like to add that part of the interview process that Commissioner Zubek and I and Mr. Moyer had with the HR person that we're contracting with now and the HR person that we hired. Some of this stuff was actually discussed through the interview process, and if you know the applicant for the position had knowledge of it and could use it. So I think even though the beginning of putting this together started before we did the hire that we did tonight, we're pretty confident that it would fit in to that person's expertise and help us along. So I cannot say that I looked at all the pages, but I went over it a few times with Mr. Steele as far as my part of being on the Finance Committee, not the Personnel Committee. But from what I've looked at and what's presented, I think it's a good step to move forward with what we do here, and especially bringing in a professional person at the same time we're adding it, who won't have to know how things were done years before and whether we had it on microfiche or a filing cabinet or it was coffee stained. Everything will be fresh from here on out. So that's all I have.
The only thing I have is, I don't remember who did the motion in the second, but if we could amend it to include 24 and 25.
I did the motion.
25 is approval of the job position.
I would request that it remain separate because I do have comments on 25.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Do you have any discussion with regard to the resolution at this time?
No.
All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's going to be a resolution. That's item 24, resolution R-2025-32. We're up to approval of departments' job position numbers. I'll entertain a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
All right. And then you can go ahead and begin.
Yeah, so I mean, I was looking through some of the job positions, and some of these positions were created not really with any much discussion with the entire board, and some were filled not even in line with an actual hiring process. And I've spoken in the past about the chief of staff position, which never became before the board, and it can be argued that it was part of something that was passed. And I just want to say that the position itself may have been included in something that the majority of this board passed, but the individual was never hired by the board. And so I want to make that clear distinction, but I also want to ask, and first I'm going to read something, and then I'm going to ask how this pertains to that, or if we're legitimizing something that the board failed to act on. So one moment, please. I'm just going to pull this up. In our township ordinances, under section 46.8, temporary delegation of authority during illness or absence of manager or acting township manager. In case of illness or absence of manager from the township, the assistant township manager or if there is not an assistant township manager, or he or she is unable to serve, then one qualified member of the manager's staff appointed by the manager with the concurrence of the Board of Commissioners shall perform the duties of the manager during his or her absence or disability. In the event of disability or absence of the manager where there is not an assistant township manager, or the manager has not appointed a member of the staff to act in his or her capacity, the Board of Commissioners shall designate a person as acting township manager to perform the duties of the manager until such time as the manager returns to full duty or a successor is appointed. Now, we have gone over a year without a township manager. This board has failed to follow ordinances in filling positions, has fired people without board approval, has hired people without board approval, and now we have a list of department and job positions, which some are new, some are actually created in violation of our township ordinances. So I would like to know how we're going to justify this, how we're going to legitimize something that's been ignored, our township ordinances, for an entire year and a half, almost. This is unacceptable. And the manager was dismissed, and there was no board approval for the dismissal of even the manager. No, the manager didn't resign. The manager was asked to leave.
Manager resigned. Do you have, I'll look it up.
Actually, he didn't.
Well, you know what? It's he said, she said. My question is not have nothing to. I'm not going to argue over the manager, whether or not the manager resigned or whether. I'm going to argue as to why this board ignores the ordinances in our township. Can someone please tell me why we're ignoring section 46.8 to fulfill the manager's position for an entire year? We have this authority. Why didn't we do this?
So can I guess.
We don't need a personnel chair to fulfill our ordinances.
Can I?
Yes, absolutely.
Address that? You said a year and a half, is that what you said?
Are we going to get technical?
No, I don't want.
January of 2024 till now.
Commissioner Zubek, I just don't want to misconstrue words because I was reading something while you were saying that. Okay, I understand. So I'll just say a year and a half and we'll agree to disagree or whatever.
I said January 2024 till
okay,
now.
so
I'll amend my comment. Okay, January 2024 till now.
January 2024, who did you propose to be the manager?
I am simply reading, you're not going to confuse me. I'm simply reading a township ordinance,
right.
section 46-8, if you'd like to refer to that, that provides for the replacement of the individuals that the board fired.
And the board is us five. And
no,
I'm asking,
I didn't fire those individuals. You did that before we ratified it. We can go with ratified it later on. But they were fired on January 3rd, I believe. January 3rd.
Well, you said manager. I'm talking about the township manager.
So, no, I am talking about the township manager. That person was dismissed, and you said he resigned. I didn't even see a resignation letter. But I'm asking for you to just provide me as to why we didn't go through this section of our township ordinance to fill that position.
Well, I think that's what I'm asking you. If you have the same powers I do.
I'm asking you,
I can only answer your question if you let me answer your question.
I've brought it up several times throughout the year. I'm asking you, as personnel chair, why you did not follow the township ordinance.
And I'll ask you again, as the personnel chair, who did you recommend from then, the date that you're saying, January 2024, till now, to be the manager? Who did you recommend?
I didn't recommend you, and you've been managing the day-to-day operations.
Don't try to get personal. I'm asking you,
question.
and I'm answering your question.
Right here.
You have the same power I have. You're a commissioner elected.
I've asked for this position to be filled.
With who?
We had in front of the entire township
with
on
who?
Numerous occasions.
Who did you say to fill it with?
With you and Commissioner Connolly and Commissioner. It was stated.
You asked me and Mr. Commissioner Connolly to be the manager?
I've asked you many times what we are doing to fill the township manager. Do not ignore me when I'm asking, why didn't we follow the ordinance? That's all I'm asking. Why didn't you follow the ordinance?
I don't know why you didn't follow the ordinance.
You're the leadership on the board. You, Commissioner Connolly, Commissioner Ellis. You have a flat-out disregard for the law and our ordinances.
So did you propose anyone to be the manager? Yes or
I'm
no?
not proposing anybody. I'm proposing that our board
So are you in
actually
violation of
follow-
the ordinance as well?
I would like to know
No, not at all.
why our board is
Well-
not scheduling to address this issue. All right, you know what? Honestly, I'm done, Commissioner Steele, but I will tell you, I'm voting against this departmental job description, this listing, until you can tell me why we're not following our ordinances to fill positions.
I'm still asking you, when are you going to say who you want to be the manager? You are an elected official. You are a commissioner here. At any point in time, you could have came up here. You could have made a motion. You could have came to the personnel committee and you could have said that I want this person to be the interim township manager.
Okay, well,
you
I'll tell you
didn't
what,
do it, and now
I would like to.
I let you talk. Please
I would
let me
like to
talk.
have the township residents, anybody listening and anybody in the audience, submit your resumes, and if you're not willing to do it and follow the ordinances, I will be happy to sit down with actually the new HR person that we just hired, and I can do your job for you, and I can make sure we interview people, and we can fill the position as properly required by our ordinances, and commissioners are not permitted to run the day-to-day operations, so you can take yourself out of the manager's office so we can actually have a properly run and functioning township.
Just before Commissioner Tuckey speaks, April 10th, 2024, the agenda's online. Under the consent agenda, it says acceptance of notice of resignation as manager and change of title to technology consultant, Jim Fosselman. So as I said, the manager did resign.
And
Go
again,
ahead,
you could have
Commissioner
followed
Tuckey.
the ordinances at that time and provided and went through the process to fill the position. And you chose not to. And you're the president of the board, and you could have done your job, and you chose not to.
Yeah. Go ahead, Commissioner Tuckey.
Okay, it's been a concern, it's been brought up publicly plenty of times over a year now about how different members of the staff was fired without board approval, how they were hired without board approval. Our chief of staff, I never saw a resume, I never saw anything. As being one of the members of the board, we should have been able to at least have information. Zach, we interviewed him, not to get into anything, but as a board, that was the first person we actually interviewed as a group. There were so many things that happened prior to that. And it was stated clearly during tons of these meetings over a year, exactly what Commissioner Zubek is saying. So instead of trying to twist words around, let's just get down to where this is actually getting corrected and fixed like it should have been from day one. That's what I'd like to see happen, please. Thank you.
Month and month again, I don't know why we come up here and misrepresent the truth.
It's not misrepresentation.
I let you talk. Please let me talk. That's all I ask. That's the only thing I ask. We can have all the decorum. You can say whatever you would like, but the only thing that I ask is I'm not going to interrupt you, and I would ask for that same respect that you would not interrupt me, because I respect that the public elected you and you have the same powers as me, and I ask that you give that same respect to me. So if we can agree to that, we can move forward, and I can say my comments, and if you don't like them, you have that reason to rebuttal. But I will say time and time again, you two come up here and continue to tell the public things that aren't true, and the receipts, the information is in the minutes, okay? The staff that you were talking about that got released, there are severance packages, okay? And that was on the agenda. You might not have voted for it. You didn't like the vote because the vote was 3-2. And I get that. That means you voted against it. But you have to respect the votes that take place up here, whether you like it or not. And to twist something from the truth that was not voted on in a meeting is just wrong. The receipts and the truth are in the minutes online. And then secondly, to say that the manager didn't change positions, well, he did. And you voted in unison to change his position. And then that manager came under 2 separate contracts. And those contracts were with the stormwater and the sewer authority. And he no longer had a contract with the township, mind you. Now, I can't help you come here and pay attention. You have to do that on your own. You have to pay attention to what's transpiring. You were elected to govern. I'm not going to continue every single meeting to have to admonish you to because you can't pay attention to what's being transpired. Now, let me go a little bit farther. When we signed the cost sharing agreement, and Kevin was one of those cost sharing employees, no different than the chief of staff. Okay, and Kevin's position became the manager of utilities. And this board did not take action, like you're saying that should have been took against the chief of staff. Kevin remained in position, assumed the position, and assumed the pay. The same exact way the chief of staff did. So here's where I'm perplexed. Is it okay for one to do it and not the other, even though legally the agreement that we agreed to with the cost sharing agreement covered all these positions? And then at one point, when is it that you don't know what the Joint Personnel Committee is? You don't know who Natalie Blackman is, chief of staff.
I never interviewed her. I have a
did
copy.
not
I have a copy of
interrupt
the
you.
email.
I'll
Do not
ask you
sit
again.
there and lie and expect me to sit here and allow you to embellish and lie. I was not appointed to the Joint Personnel Committee till after you brought Natalie on, and you know that.
Did
so
you
stop
even
lying
let
to
me
the
finish
public.
my statement?
She was an existing employee.
Right.
of
I
No,
the
mean,
she
you
was
didn't-
not.
You did not let me finish my
She
statement.
worked for the Sewer Authority. She did not work for the township. She was not an existing
Madam
employee.
President, I'll yield my time because Commissioner Zubek has
I
to
would
continue
appreciate that.
to interrupt
And
me,
just-
and she will not let me
Okay,
speak.
that's fine. Yield your
Unfortunately, I
time
don't
then.
have control
Just so
over
you
adults,
know,
so-
right here, township manager is on your list right here as being vacant. I only asked why you didn't fill the position and why you've been running the day-to-day operations for over a year and masking yourself the best you could so nobody would notice. Why? It's not a lie. It's right here.
I have the why.
It's not a lie.
I come in on Fridays and sign checks.
Yeah,
It's not a lie.
Here's the why. The reason is, and we talked about it over and over again, and you know it, and sometimes you know either you're forgetful or you're purposely kind of evasive with the facts. The reason why was the township was in very bad financial shape in January of 24.
No thanks
And the
to you.
100%. You're right. 100%.
$2 million
I
deficit
agree with what you said.
between
No thanks
20
to me.
and 21.
Okay,
A
so I'm
$2
gonna-
million deficit.
Again, I just started talking, and I could do this real quick. So some positions had to be eliminated to get the township back on track. We started with the shared positions. I think Natalie Blackman, how many years of service does she have? She been here
Over 10.
10 years. She was already working here 10 years, and you keep targeting her,
didn't
saying
work for the
you didn't
township.
interview her. We did.
She
a
was an
joint
administrative
committee, but
staffer.
You were the vice.
She's
now
not
you're
a-
the vice president or chair
I didn't see
of
a
that
resume.
committee. Of that committee, and you understand that we're trying to save money, and we're working with sewer, stormwater, and this commissioner's board. So we do that, and instead of hiring someone extra, which sounds like you want to do and spend more money, we have the person share the duties across the thing. And the position she was in, exactly what Kevin does. These are excellent employees that are willing to put different hats on, different days of the week,
I
different
wouldn't
hours of the
know.
day to do a great job. But you continue to single
wouldn't
out
know.
this one woman. This one woman, you accused her of joyriding when she was out on medical leave. You said it right here from that podium. You continue to lie
did that
and bash
when?
our
Show
chief
me.
of staff because there's something personal that you. If she's been here 10 years,
I asked if she was riding.
She's been here 10
I
years,
asked
and
if she
you
was
voted.
driving a township vehicle.
You
That's
said
not
the word-
joyriding.
You said joyriding.
Oh
You
my
clearly
gosh.
said joyriding.
You
And
really
it's
are in
this
your own
one
head.
person. What's the difference between that one person we have? Is it because she is a female?
No.
Or is it because of something else?
Oh,
But you
oh my
continue
God.
to bash her over and over again.
I'm going to take a break from you.
Yeah, I would take a break because that's not a
You're
good
a
look.
liar.
That's not a good look. You bring up her name, and you 10 years here giving incredible service to this township, and because you didn't interview her, we shouldn't have her here. She is a great employee. She's an asset. And as we get back on track, which Commissioner Steele probably in his comments tonight or the next meeting will have very good financial news from 23 to 24, an improvement that's coming up.
At least you admit I
Right.
didn't interview her.
You did. No one interviewed her. She's been here 10 years.
weren't
You've
on
been a
the board.
commissioner for 6. How would you have interviewed her 10 years ago?
With all
this
due
makes no
respect,
sense.
Commissioner
I'm tired
Connolly,
of the lies.
she didn't
lies,
work for the
lies.
township.
Yes.
Please tell the public
been here.
that she did not work for the township.
She's still an
Please
employee
t-
of sewer. She's
I'm
on the
sorry,
cost
but I
sharing
didn't
agreement.
oversee sewer. I'm a township.
But this
I'm
one
on the
employee,
township board of
this one
commissioners.
employee is a problem. But
No,
one person,
no, you
we have
hiring
joint-
outside of board approval is a problem.
Brittany is a joint employee right here sitting behind us. You don't want her here?
Well, she already worked for the
did you
township.
interview
I don't
her?
have to interview
She works
her.
for sewer.
So did the
She
other.
worked in the township.
She
works
for sewer.
So
We're done. We're done with this. Commissioner Tucky gets to speak one more time, and then we're voting.
I'll post my comments.
Please
on Facebook.
refrain from speaking. It's Commissioner Tucky's time.
You are so vulgar.
Please control yourself. Refrain from speaking. Allow your colleague the courtesy to hear his words. Thank you.
Excuse me, what do you mean by be careful? What are you telling me?
Just we're not having any more conversations with regard to this. Go ahead and make your comments.
I will, but what do you mean by be careful?
Make your comment.
You know what? This is ridiculous. I'm tired of seeing words get twisted around. Commissioner Zubek was very clear with what she said. Mr. Connolly, you're a heck of a guy with being able to twist around what people are actually constantly.
Just stop.
Now,
he's talking.
It's constant. What was stated very clearly was that Commissioner Zubek and myself lie all the time. That's not true at all. We stated very clearly for months and months, over a year, about all the issues that have been going on behind our backs. That's what's been happening. Yet, we're being told we're lying about it. We're making stuff up. I don't make anything up. I don't lie. January, the decision was made without our acknowledgement at all. We found out 18th hand. We didn't find first, second hand or anything. It was way past, that decision was made to get rid of 3 competent people from the admin staff. That was made as soon as you took over. It did not go in front of this board at that time. It did not get discussed between all 5 of us. It never happened. So to say we voted on, we did this and that's not true. We did not make that decision. The majority of this board, 3 members, made that decision. So just to make that perfectly clear for the last time, that's what happened. As we went throughout the year, Commissioner still has been managing day-to-day operations. That is true. The chief of staff that was hired, we never had any acknowledgement at all about the position or anything until after it was already done. We did not have any of the information. This employee, look, I know no one is going after an employee for any reason. Not myself, and I'm sure Commissioner Zubek is not. What the problem is, those qualifications was never brought in front of us. We never had any knowledge until after it was already done. That's the problem with the majority of this board. Stuff is constantly being done behind our backs that we have no say over. No part of responding, nothing. And then we're constantly saying it at these meetings. We're telling the truth. We've been saying truly what's been happening. And to try to keep turning and twisting our words around is not proper. It's not right. And all we've been asking is to do it properly. Have us in the decision making. And like I said very clearly, Zach was the first employee that we had any say at all about. And that was the final employee that was narrowed down to. We didn't talk to 2, 3 other employees prior. And you know what? I'm okay with that because Zach's doing a decent job. Okay? And I don't mean to single you out, Zach, but honestly, you were the only employee that we had any involvement with. Anything to go through about what your qualifications are, what you've done. As a board member, we should have that. You get down to the bottom 2, 3 employees that you're thinking would be a good fit, we should be able to have that communication. We should be able to have that say. And we haven't had it. So to be sitting up here and saying the stuff that's been said by a few of these commissioners is not correct and it's not accurate. Thank you.
And again, just for the public, I did go ahead and send the resignation letter that we received in 2024 from our former manager to everyone. It's in your inbox, as well as the other information that I sent earlier this evening. The severance packages for the employees that the commissioners are referring to were voted on February 7, 2024. The severance packages included pay until the end of March, so they weren't terminated until March. With regard to, with regard to the Director of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Golden, the reason that he was interviewed, or that we all had the opportunity to speak to him, was because he is the first department head that the township has hired in a very long time. Everyone else has been existing. We had a retirement from a department head, that's why. But we have multiple employees. We have public works employees. We have police officers. We don't interview all of them. None of us have ever done that. That's not how it works. That's not how it worked before. That's not something that's new. That's the continued process for how it's been in Swatara Township for well before I was here. So it's not a new process. And again, the reason that we all had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Golden was because he was a new department head that was new to the township.
Well, please send me the resume for the chief of staff. I'd like to see the resume. I would like to see.
You were told numerous times that she was an existing employee. You were aware that she was an existing employee.
For who? Did she work for Swatara Township?
She worked for the sewer authority. You voted against the cost sharing agreement.
I didn't know her.
But she was included in the cost sharing agreement.
I didn't know her.
You did know her.
Yeah, you had a meeting with her.
We have emails, or you having correspondence with her when you were president.
Did I know her before you hired her?
Yes.
No.
Yes, you had a joint.
I most certainly did not.
You had a joint committee meeting with her.
I didn't see her resume.
I didn't know I like receipts. I'll look up the email.
We didn't have an opportunity.
Send the email.
Send the email.
Again, I'll forward the email that is from 2022. I'll forward it to the board so that the public knows. I'll share that.
What was her position for the sewer authority, please?
I will forward the email. We're talking about this right now. I'm done with this back and forth because it's pointless.
Nonsense.
We're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and ask for Secretary Savage to do a roll call vote. And we'll move forward. But like I said, I'll send that email to everyone. And if anyone from the public wants it, I'll share it with you too.
We are on 25, Madam President, correct? We got a motion
That is
second for
correct.
25? Okay.
That is correct.
Commissioner Tuckey?
No.
Commissioner Zubek?
No.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yes.
Vice President
Yes.
Steele? President Ellis?
Yes. All right. Item number 25 is approved 3-2. We're up to number 26, approval of the Pitney Bowes postage meter license renewal.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. By way of discussion, I was going to say, our finance director, Ms. Yarzinski, if you could just give a brief explanation for the public so that they know why we have to purchase this postage meter.
Okay, yep. Out front, we have a postage meter to do all the mailing for the township, all the departments, everything. There's a meter out there. We pay the postage, but the physical machine we lease, and I believe we signed it at least 3 years ago, but every so often we just have to renew the lease agreement. That just states if we don't pay, they're going to come take the machine. That's all there is to it.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Up to item 27, appointments to boards and commissions. We don't have any openings. Visitors' requests and comments. Number 28, please come forward if you have any comments. You can write your name down and your address and state it for the public as well, and then you may begin. I don't see anybody jumping up. We'll go on to possible stormwater violations for investigation. This is on the agenda all the time. If there is something, you can always email as well, and we'll get any stormwater violations looked into. Hearing nothing there, we'll move on to item 30, commissioners' requests and comments, additional business and correspondence. Commissioner Tuckey.
Well, I'm going to be very short with this because it's getting late. Just want to make something very clear. I'm not sitting up here representing, helping the public by lying. I've been saying the truth the whole time. And just be nice if, as a board, we could do things properly instead of what has been going on now for over a year. But I don't know, I'm not going to hold my breath to that. Unfortunately, it's been constant. on the township website. I believe website and Facebook, am I correct, Madam President?
I'm sorry?
About Greece share being posted there?
It's on the Facebook page. I believe it is, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't answer that with the,
Okay,
but it's on the website.
If you could please, if you could put it on the website also, if it's not. I just want to let you know about that program again. It's very beneficial for people that are loss of loved ones, family, friends. It definitely does help. Kevin, again, thank you for reaching out to Dauphin County, working it out with Mike Priest to be able to help get our community in better shape with the trash pickup and everything. Thanks to all the residents that do reach out to me. There's quite a few to try to make our community better. And I've worked with those requests by different residents with staff members in here to get things done. That's what we're here for. It's what I've been here for, to try to help the residents. I'm not up here, like I said, I'm not gonna lie to anyone. If I don't know the answer to something, I'll find the answer out for someone. I just wish things could get better here, but it's been over a year and it's not changing, so. I hope everyone has a nice evening. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Commissioner Zubek.
I'm gonna keep it brief. For the record, I would never, ever use the word joyriding. So I knew I didn't say it. And I would like to see the video clip of that. And secondly, on it. Yep. Secondly, and I would also like the entire commentary, if the word was used, which I don't recall using that. And then the other thing I would like to mention is I don't appreciate when I'm trying to ask a specific question, the 20-minute soliloquies and being interrupted. I've heard from people and I've spoken with people, and people, after talking with them about the context of some of our conversations up here, they understand why the commentary had to take place. And I think the commentary has to take place is when I ask a question, I don't need a 20-minute response or it's usually my questions are pretty cut and dry. Some people might think that, get defensive and feel like they have to go into some explanation of the last 20 years. I really just wanted to know why we didn't follow the ordinances. It's pretty simple. It's in black and white. And I would like the solicitor to rule on the fact that we have not followed the ordinance for over a year. I would like to know from the solicitor if we are required to follow the ordinance. Can you please respond, sir?
It's advisable, but there's no penalty for not following this ordinance.
Well, it's unfortunate that there's no penalty.
Creation.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there's no penalty, because I think that because there's penalty for our residents. There's penalties for our residents if they don't follow the ordinances. And this board should hold itself to the same high standards. And when the majority on this board, you want to be leaders in the community, you want to, shape your vision, well, you have to do it within the confines of our township ordinances. We had an MDJ here this evening at the beginning. I listened to his words as he swore those officers in for their promotions, and congratulations to those officers on their promotions. Again, I listened to the words, and the words talked about following the law and following the township ordinances. It should be pretty simple for us to do that if we're asking residents to do so. I didn't want to get into a big back and forth fight, argument. All I'm asking is, why didn't it get done? I'm not the chair of personnel. I'm not the president of the board. Had we had a vacancy, I would have made sure it was filled in the proper manner. It's not asking much. Thank you. I hope everybody has a safe drive home this evening, and I want to thank the residents for coming out. Have a nice evening.
Commissioner Connolly?
Yeah, I'd like to start with congratulating again the officers that were promoted tonight. All great individuals. I think we have we're blessed here in the township to have an incredible police department, incredible leader. We have an absolutely incredible fire department. Our public works, really just the staff in general. Yet sometimes we spend a lot of time talking about negative things, and things are going really good. We did have some questions about taxes directed to the township and expenditures and things like that. I did ask to have the millage sheet posted. Probably preaching to the choir here, but probably everybody here realizes how much less the cost of living because of our government and good government, including the school district, is in this community compared to almost any other community around here. Wasn't necessarily balanced that way years ago when I started. Look at the list if you didn't look at it, and you can compare services, you can do all that stuff. I think we have great people doing a great job here. The positive press coverage we got with Mr. Harlacher and the drone program is absolutely incredible. You've probably seen it on Harrisburg City's websites thanking Swatara Township. And it's the police department and multiple people for the quick response to an emergency situation. Cross-border things with our neighbors are always important. And as far as the litter, it comes up every year. If you are a resident and your biggest concern is that there's litter in March, we can move the cleanups earlier, but it's pretty much been my observation that the people that point out litter as a problem generally don't volunteer when we do things like that. And the other people are volunteers, so we're fortunate to have this CEO group coming in, but that doesn't solve everything. And I just want to talk about the kind of the attack on litter that's overlooked here. So we have CEO, we have some people that have been here a few days so far, because they come 2 days a week and we're a couple weeks into it. And people are saying they do a great job, and I agree with that. But we have volunteers that do the same thing in different places. We have a great public works department. Let's not think that they don't pick up litter. They've been involved in cleanups and illegal dumping and all those things, but they have other jobs to do. But then we also have an enforcement component. And I would say it was about 3 weeks ago, it was brought to our attention that a commercial building didn't have a lid on their dumpster. They had styrofoam, cardboard, paper products that were blowing out. Reported to Mr. Golden, and then there was an enforcement effort, and then they did a cleanup, off of their property. We get these things all the time, so it's easy to point out the problem, but at the same time, there's a multifaceted solution in place to work with it. I think tonight, the allowing the data center, we heard from the school district. And those are our children and our families that now have a chance to possibly, if either of those sites are developed, put more money into their education, into the system here. And the school district is asking us to do that. We're at the point now where they're not coming right out and saying, because we're a very welcoming community, but our population grew by 19% in the last census. Highest increase of any population in Swatara Township. Or in Dauphin County. Thank you, Mary. We must be doing something right. People are coming here, but at the same time, then there's more cars. It's going to be a little bit more litter. It's going to be more police calls. But if we allow that same population growth to continue without the business taxes coming in and the business privilege taxes, then we're all going to foot the bill. So to me tonight, it was an easy vote. Either do something that could potentially save the residents money and improve the township, put money into our police department, the things we already have, or take a risk that the next thing might be okay. But retail, tourism things, warehousing, and homes really are a little bit more of a drain on the system. So, I'm looking at the whole picture there, and I just want to point out this back and forth on the joint committee and the shared positions. I'm sitting here, I'm not going to say their names, but I think we have 5 people that now have duties and responsibilities either in stormwater or sewer that were township employees. They've crossed over and they get, part of their pay or part of their duties are somewhere else. And if I'm right, I believe there's only been one to come the other way. So we're the side that is saying like this person didn't exist and I didn't interview him. But the other 2 agencies have signed on basically to save money in the township by having a joint employee, a crossover employee. It's forward thinking. I get that some people like things the way they were. Hire a manager, spend money, do things. Don't work with developers in a fair way to generate taxes. But that's not why I was elected. I'm going to try to do the right thing. I want to touch on last night. It's fire on Braywood, right over here. We had a response to that. I think before they were done, there was a fire at the Dauphin County Prison. It took a tremendous amount of manpower. And before they were done, there was a fire call. I think it might have just been an alarm at the Red Roof Inn. We got heroes here. Our police, our firefighters, our drone operator, because some people seem to think that that's something that's not positive. Drone operator, our EMA, they're out there on it was a Tuesday night. It wasn't a parade. It wasn't an event. And they're racing to the call. And the same thing happens when we have problems. Our highway guys come out when it snows. Our police are there. I think we have a great township. I'd like to hear more positive things about it. I appreciate everybody coming out, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Vice President Steele.
Yes, thank you. I'll read a quote. The guy's name is Thomas Sowell. He said, "It's usually futile to try to talk facts and analysis to people who are enjoying a sense of moral superiority in their ignorance." And that's what I want to talk to tonight. Because what you will find shocking when you look at that, and I'm going to go through some of the decisions that they say they can't make and some of the decisions that they have made. And I'm going to start with the decisions that they have made and bring you to an understanding why they are upset, why we had some of the severance packages, why they are upset. The manager's contract got canceled. So for the public, whatever I tell you that relates to a contract or financial information, come in here, file a right to know. If you need to know what to file, let me know, and I will show you, okay? So the manager's contract, when I came on board in 2024, he had 2 contracts. He had one with the township. He also had one with the Stormwater Authority, okay? If his contract was terminated, he got paid $12,250 a month for 6 months simultaneously at both sides. That's $24,000 a year tax money if we released him. What was the first priority of business? Get him out of that contract and get him in a new contract. Who signed that contract? That president down there who voted for it? This guy right here.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He was hired by Tom Connolly.
Ratified his contract in January 2022. Look in the minutes and you will see manager's contract ratified.
Yep.
When I came in 24, that's the contract that guy was under. Okay? So now you understand why we don't want that guy to go. Why would the taxpayers have to be on the hook for $24,000 a month? Who would even agree to something like that? All you keep hearing is Tom Connolly ran the government in the ground. Tom Connolly lowered the taxes. Well, when you took over the government, why didn't you raise the taxes? Why didn't you fix the budget? Because again, you were caught up in your moral superiority of your ignorance. You didn't know what you were doing. You couldn't govern. You didn't have the ability to govern. Some of the things that we've done since 24, and I'm going to tell you, again, come in here and get the information. $227,000 we had in accounts receivable. Okay? That's what we had in accounts receivable. That is engineering fees, people not paying their development fees, people not paying us our money. We aggressively have been going after that since 2024 into this year, and we just brought this guy on board and he's helping even more. Just in the 3 months that this guy's been here, he's gotten us over $100,000 in accounts receivables money. What happened in 22 and 23? You were able to make the decisions. Nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. In 24, guess what else we had to do? We had $700,000 in accounts payable. That means in 23, they had $700,000 of outstanding bills. Is this the governance you want? Again, caught up in their moral superiority of ignorance. What else took place? They voted in 22 and 25, both budgets, to defund the government. Public safety included. They voted against the budget. When you vote against a budget, you are essentially shutting the government down. Don't believe me? Go to the minutes. 3-2. Twice, 24 and this year, defended to shut down the government. Who wants to shut down Swatara Township's government? These two. We can't continue to do the same things over and over and come up here and grandstand as if you know what you're talking about. You don't. Again, 24, I'm going to give you another cost savings. 13 iPads and cell phones that were unassigned, just on the hook, and it wasn't assigned to anyone. That's what we found. 13 iPads and cell phones that wasn't assigned to employees that we were just paying for. That took a simple audit. That's all it did. That's the first thing we did. Come in and audit all the cell phones. Guess what? 20 plus Home Depot credit cards. You don't want to know how many gas cards we had. I wish we would have brought them out today. There's about 40. I'll make sure I bring them next meeting. Unassigned gas cards. 40 for who? Where is the accountability? Where's the checks and balances? It doesn't exist. It didn't exist. One thing I want to make sure we're clear on that was said last meeting, because I campaigned on this and I stuck true to this. My email address for those online is still STEELE .a.shane@gmail.com. Anybody in the crowd right now wants a copy of my campaign finances because you heard Commissioner Zubek say I took money from Dogwood? Here's a copy of my campaign finances.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you did.
I said they did.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Here's a copy of my campaign finances because one thing I did when I knocked on doors, and this is how true I was and dedicated to this position, because I walked all across this township, all clean money. Now, for my other two partners, and I'm talking about Ms. Zubek and Mr. Tuckey, explain your $14,000 that you received from a PAC. I didn't take one. Yeah, a PAC.
What hack?
Better Government PA.
You explain the Better Government PA. You explain it. I explain mine. If you want a copy, it's right here. And I put my own money in. They didn't put a dime of their own money in. When I took this seat, I did it for the public. I didn't do it for special interests. They're beholden to certain people. And again, I'll talk about the building. You sold the building at $1.6 million.
You're ridiculous.
No, you're caught up in moral superiority of your true ignorance. That's the difference. I want to thank the firemen, the police, EMS, mutual aid, because the fire yesterday on Braywood, okay, arrived on scene, quick response. PD helped open the gate at Life Center Ministries to get the third and fourth arriving engine down the street. I mean, the way everyone came together and secured the scene, mitigated the circumstances for 3 young adults that were standing in their driveway, scared to death because their house was on fire, bar none, was outstanding. PD, EMS, and fire. Great job. Then, I want to say about an hour later, we got dispatched to 501 Mall Road. Very complex situation. Another fire. 100 plus inmates had to be checked out. That's nothing easy. Came together again. Mutual aid, EMS, police, the fire chief. Excellent job. Over the weekend, you heard, and you continue to hear about this drone operation. Trust me, I'm skeptical to anything new. You don't know. But you got to do your research. What is it actually going to benefit? Is it going to benefit the township? I know a lot of people are saying, we're paying a lot of money for a drone. We're doing this. A drone's purchase, right? What's the benefit of one life that it saves? Can somebody tell me that? We talk about Tahoes. We talk about drones. We talk about fire trucks. How much is your life worth? How much is your child's life worth? How much is your brother, your sister, your cousin's life worth? When it relates to police, fire, and EMA, it is what if? What if it happens? Am I prepared? Do I have the equipment? That's everything. I mean, we can go around and petty pick the fire service, the police department, the EMA all day long. Get rid of this, get rid of this. But what happens when the incident happens and you don't have it? It's about being on proper standby. That's exactly what it's about. I've said enough. It's 11 o'clock. It's almost 11 o'clock at night. I appreciate everyone that came out. I appreciate everyone that logged online. And I'm going to say this before I leave to the staff. You have to sit through this. You have to see it online. You have to hear about it, right? But what you are doing, okay, is not for right now. Keep that in mind. And I've talked to each one of you individually. It's not for what you're doing right now, okay? It's for the future. And you're changing everything for the better. Continue doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody stop you from what you're doing, okay? Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, I'll be brief. When we had our moment of silence, I said a little prayer that we'd be done before 11 o'clock, so we will be. The first thing that I'm going to say is we were talking about the audio from meetings from 2021. I looked it up. It doesn't come up easily. If you go onto our website and you type into the search tab, you type audio, there will be, there's one meeting from 2022 and there are, I think, 6 from 2021, beginning with November 3rd, 2021. So there is audio that predates the Facebook. That was something that I requested of Brendan. It's very grainy. It's not good quality, but it's there. Also, let me pull it up. I looked through and I found an email that is from our chief of staff that was sent on January 11th, 2023 to Commissioner Zubek, former Commissioner Varner, myself, former Commissioner Bowder, and Commissioner Tuckey. So we knew of her existence before she became chief of staff for the township as well. I know I have other ones. I'll send those to you too that predate 2023. So for the public,
I met somebody
it's
through
available.
an
I'm
email.
speaking. Please don't interrupt.
Right.
And the last
An
thing
email.
that I'm going to say is I wanted to offer my congratulations again to Sergeant Moyer, Corporal Smith, and Corporal LeCadre on their promotions. Thank you to everyone that stuck through this. We were doing good. Like, we almost made it through all of the agenda items for the township in an hour. We got sidetracked. Next week's a chance for all of us to be better. We all need to take that message. Thank you to the people that take the time to watch these meetings. Thank you to the staff that, again, week after week, month after month, have to sit here and listen to the nonsense that we spew. I'm hopeful that it will get better too, but it's going to take all of us to do better for ourselves. I don't have control over how other people behave. You only have control over how I behave. I try to come as prepared as possible. If something is said, I do my best to make sure I find where it's documented at. I'll present it to whoever wants it. I am going to go back through the agendas and the minutes. I'll find the joyriding comment. I'll provide during my comments next week the minutes and the hour, whenever it was, on the Facebook page. So again, I hold myself to a high standard when it comes to things that I say in public, and I make sure that it's accurate. I would request that everyone do the same. So with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Before you entertain that motion, Madam President, I would just like to put on the record, if the whole board will just entertain, that we offer our condolences to the Carl Singleton family, the city of Harrisburg, and all those lives that he touched throughout central Pennsylvania.
Including those residents in Swatara Township.
Absolutely.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Make sure we put that in the record, so that's on the record.
Thank you for that. All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned at 10:50.